9. Aloha Pumehana Kako. The January 28th Neighborhood Board number 34 meeting is called to order. Happy New Year, everybody. Haole makahiki ho. So, welcome to our Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale Community Forum. My name is Anthony Makana Paris, and I serve as your board chair. We're holding a hybrid meeting in Kapolei at Kapolei Hale and online via WebEx. For order and decorum, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand or your virtual hand and wait for the presiding officer to recognize you before speaking. Please kindly introduce yourself and address all of your comments to the presiding officer or the chairperson at the time. If I miss any hands, any of my fellow board members or our interim neighborhood board assistant, Curtis, will be able to get my attention. Speakers have 3 minutes to comment on any item, and those giving reports this evening have 10 minutes and with Q&A. So all of the presentation materials or the board packet is available on Google Drive, and please remember to silence any of your electronic devices, and if you're on WebEx, please keep yourself muted until you are recognized to speak. So this is our community forum, and we ask that everyone to engage with the spirit of aloha and be free to vigorously debate any and all of the agenda items. Remember to treat each other with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating for your position. And let's honor each other by keeping to the allotted times for speaking and collectively finish before the 2:58 required deadline. So I think that new memo that came out from the Neighborhood Board Commission was because our last 2 meetings went over our 3-hour mark twice. So with your help, we will finish on time or early this evening. Are there any procedural questions at this time? Seeing none in person or online, let's call the roll.
Bosler. Dudley. England. Herrera. Hale. Absent. Lidstone. Medeiros. Haala.
Ill. Online.
Harris. There you have quorum with 8 members present.
Thank you very much. We'd like to offer Honolulu Police Department to come up first, and Honolulu Fire Department to come up first and start off the new year.
Good evening. I'm Captain Ting from the Kapolei Fire Station, and I'm here to read out the stats for December 2025. Fires, we had 2 structure fires, 0 brush fires, 1 nuisance fire, which is an outside rubbish fire, no cooking fires, and 14 activated alarms with no fire. Emergencies, we had 190 medicals, 1 motor vehicle accident with a pedestrian, 20 motor vehicle collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, and 1 hazardous materials incident. The safety tips for this month is electrical safety for your home. Check for electrical hazards in your home. Here are some tips to keep your home safe. Plug 1 heated producing appliance, coffee maker, toaster, etc., into the wall receptacle outlet at a time. Major appliances like refrigerators, dryers, and stoves should be plugged directly into a wall receptacle outlet. Extension cords and power strips should not be used. Check electrical cords to ensure they are not running across doorways or under carpets. Extension cords are intended for temporary use. Have a licensed electrician install additional receptacle outlets to eliminate using extension cords. Ensure electrical work is performed by a licensed electrician. If you have any questions, you can email hfdnhb@honolulu.gov.
Also, mahalo for the report. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the community at large? Okay, come on up, introduce yourself, and please ask your question.
Good evening. My name is Mike. I'm from Kapolei. My question is, how much fires was during the New Year's Eve that you guys put out in like a Kapolei district.
Have that information. This is for December. So next month when they have January stats. If you want further, like I said, you can email agent. Any. Or a specific.
Thank you for your service, man.
Mahalo. For those that didn't get the audio on that one, the request for the New Year's related stats will more likely be available at our next meeting. And if you have any questions, please email them at the email that they mentioned earlier. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Mahalo for the good work. Appreciate it. Now let's go to Honolulu Police Department. Online, yes, there you go.
Good evening,
Bro.
Chair, board members, members of the community, Corporal Pagan with the Honolulu Police Department District 8 Community Policing Team. And I had your stats for December. In December, we had 24 motor vehicle thefts, 5 in our area, 15 burglaries, 2 in our area, 105 thefts, 35 in our area, 15 unauthorized entries into a motor vehicle, 9 in our area. It's a total of 1,373 citations issued, total of 8,521 calls for service, 2,717 in our area. The only thing, other thing that I did have is wanted to mention to everyone that I believe that we are already up at 5 fatalities on our roads in Honolulu since January. We do ask that everyone pay attention, put your phones down, drive the speed limit, be courteous, be attentive, and follow the laws of the road and get where you got to get on time and safely. Other than that, I'm open for any comments, questions, or concerns.
Mahalo for the report. Sad to hear the current fatality count, and we hope that we can do something about that moving forward. Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns? Chair recognizes Board Member Sheila Madaris.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I have a follow-up question that I asked back in August, and this pertains to the safety access road in Makakilo. And I had asked if you folks had done a recon of the area to determine if it's safe, as far as how many vehicles could actually traverse through there safely in case of an emergency, because that would be the second exit. Now, I was told that an MOU needed to be signed off. So is that MOU, where are we with that memorandum of understanding between, I think it's HPD, the private landowner, and city and county? Thank you.
Thank you. I can double check on that. We did have an operation where we did a drive-through with some vehicles to see if the road is passable, is usable. My understanding, it is barely. What I was also told was there is no plans to open up that road. If there is an emergency, then they may use it. But as far as I know, like I said, I can go double check on it. The last thing I heard was the private property owner had no desire to open up that road for liability reasons, stuff like that. Rep Souza may have a little bit more information on that. If Councilmember Tupola comes on tonight, she may have a little bit more information on that. But like I said, that's what I heard. I can go double check and try to get you more information on that. But the last I was told was there was no plans to open up that road unless it was absolutely necessary, and how they were going to do that, there hasn't been a plan yet.
Thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions for Corporal Pagan and the Honolulu Police Department? Okay, come on down, Representative.
Hello, I'm Representative David Elkos. Corporal, you said there was a couple theft and some cars stolen. Did you guys catch anybody within the month or, of the month of December and January? That was anybody arrested? Or do you know where the crime is coming from? Is it local crime in the area or is it outside from somewhere else?
You talk about the people that were arrested, where they're coming from?
I'm talking about where the crimes, people stealing cars, breaking in, smashing grabs,
Yeah.
or all the crimes where is it coming from mostly?
Well, the stats that I gave, the thefts, the 105 thefts in the district, there was 35 in Kapolei. So
No, I'm sorry. What I meant was, is it Kapolei people stealing, or is it people from outside of Kapolei, or is this the homeless encampment in a certain area? Like, did you guys get any arrests to these guys and find out where it's coming from?
I believe there were some arrests. I don't have the numbers with me right now. I can work on that and try to get you that. I don't want to put the onus on any one group as far as whether it's the homeless that's causing the thefts. I can tell you personally that I have had a couple of cases regarding some of the homeless stealing from Safeway, Longs, as well as from the Target and other areas. Whether they were arrested or whether a lot of the stores are still continuing to trespass individuals versus arrest them for the thefts. I guess it's because of the hassles of getting everybody there. So when we make the theft cases, if they decide that they're not going to prosecute, we'll make the theft case or maybe the trespass, but they won't prosecute. So there's not always an arrest. But I can take a look at that and see how many arrests are actually made for the stolen vehicles and the thefts in the Kapolei area for next month's meeting.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate all your hard work. Stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concern for HPD? Yes, board member. Right ahead.
Sorry. Thank you. Just to follow up on Board Member Mandera's question about the access road. A few years ago, right after the Maui fires, we were talking a lot about this road in particular and just having a way for our Makakilo residents to safely exit the mountain. And the unofficial plan had been that a key would be given to either HPD or HFD so that we could get the gate open if needed. And so if the plan is to not have it opened officially and only open in an emergency, a true emergency situation, I'm just wondering, can you find out if you can get a key or if we can, because otherwise, we'll have our residents, what are we going to do? Like, get the guy with the biggest truck up there? We need to be able to know who to go to get that gate open in the event that we do have an emergent situation. Thank you.
Yeah, I do understand you, because like I said, I'll go look into it, but the thing is, if part of that road area is private property, we can't legally force anybody to give us a key to get on their property. So again, like I said, I'm not fully aware of what the status of that is, and I'll go find out. I'll try to get you some information.
Chair recognizes board member McFerra.
Yeah, this is an issue that we addressed quite some time ago. And I had told Tupolo's office that we were trying to get the Makakilo Drive completion done. And they tended to lean towards going this other route. And I knew it wasn't going to work. And they've worked on it for about a year. And it's not going to work. And so instead of wasting time with that, we need to get back to the Makakilo completion. And I'm going to be getting in touch with Mike Formsby, which is the mayor's assistant, in trying to get the environmental report that we've been asking for going on a year now. So that's where that's at. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, you have a little homework this month, Corporal Pagan. Feel free to reach out if you need any other guidance.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. I think Ms. Celeste Levi has a question online.
Oh, good catch. Go right ahead, Celeste, online.
Hi, sir. I just thank you for all the stats that you provided. Just wondering what can the community do to help, um, like a prevention plan? Was there a prevention plan that, can get the community involved to help out with what is going on? With the theft, just stealing, just because we're going to increase our population in Kapolei, and if there's nothing in place, it's going to just increase. And that's the scary part. And just trying to see what kind of plans is set for us moving
Okay.
forward.
Thank you. As a community policing team and officer with the community policing team, one of our things is we go out there and we try to convince neighborhoods and offer neighborhoods training in becoming a neighborhood security watch or a citizen patrol, so they can get out into their communities, walk their communities, their neighborhoods, let people know that they're out there and they're watching. And if they decide that they don't want to walk, even meeting and getting together and getting everyone's email addresses so that people can share information. Again, one of the examples that we use is if something happens at your house, your neighbors may not know unless you let them know. And if you know your neighbors and you know that some of your neighbors have like a Ring door camera or some other camera security system, and you let them know when something happened, we can always go to them to try to see if we can get information or evidence for these crimes. I have a security system at my home, and honestly, I don't look at the cameras unless something's missing. So a lot of people do have these camera systems, and they don't check it unless something happens. So if you are in contact with your neighbors and know who has these cameras, we would know who to reach out to should something happen in your area. And just sharing information. If you see a suspicious vehicle, let your neighbors know that you saw it. So if they see it, people know to watch out for it. They call the police. We can come up there and find out what's going on, chase them away if anything illegal is happening, or at least identify them and find out what they're doing. A lot of it is just a matter of being observant, being cautious, and being willing to get involved in a essence of reporting it, being willing to make a statement, being willing to testify, and let these criminals know that we're not going to stand for it. A lot of times these criminals go into areas where they feel that no one's going to bother to report it or testify against them. So they just continue to go back to those areas and commit these crimes. So that would be my biggest suggestion. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, thank you again for your report, Corporal Pagan, and wishing you and the team a wonderful 2026.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Okay. Let's move on to Board of Water Supply. Are they joining us online today? Oh. Okay. Not seeing their representative at this moment. Let's move on and welcome up the Mayor Rick Langiardi's representative, Deputy Director Deborah Zeisman. Live and in person.
Aloha, Chair, members of the Neighborhood Board and community. I'm Deborah Zeisman from the Office of Economic Revitalization on behalf of the mayor tonight. So a few highlights, and then there were a lot of questions at the last meeting. So I have a lot to report back on and some things still open. So just a few updates since the last time we were here. As I think you know, there's a new ocean safety department in the city, and Kurt Lager was sworn in as our first director of the new Office of Ocean Safety. There will be new flood risk maps for the city and county that take effect on June 10th. There's information for that online. And construction is beginning at the YNI police station. And finally, I think for community and board members, there is a brand new and improved Honolulu 311 system. I have personally used it. It is great. It is an updated system that launched in December. And so it is for any residents to use to report issues in your community that need fixing or addressing. So things like potholes or just tree issues, anything that you're seeing. It is very easy. You can there is an app that is for both Apple and Android, and also the website, which is hnl311.com. It's very easy to use. You do things like snap a picture, you can put where the issue is, and the issue immediately routes to the right department, right? So if it's transportation, if it's parks, et cetera, and once you log in, you get a status update as to what's happening pretty quickly in my own experience, so that the city, that right department can get that information. So you don't have to necessarily come to a neighborhood board meeting to report that there's like a bus up sidewalk or something. You can just do it on your phone, and it's quicker and easier. And you can take pictures and upload them from there. So it's great. I would recommend everybody like start using it and report, and let us know how it's going. Okay, the many, many questions, both from neighborhood board members and community members. So first off, the trees on Makakilo Drive. This was an issue that Dr. Dudley raised last time and before. So the Division of Urban Forestry, which is part of Department of Parks and Rec, says they have investigated this concern of struggling and dying trees on Makakilo Drive several times and have not found any trees in this condition.
Bullshit.
Their words, not mine, sir. Just telling you. So the request from the Parks and Rec folks is that they said Makakilo Drive is quite long with hundreds of trees. The request is if there can be any specificity on addresses where there's concern, so they could come and better address the issue. So that the road is very long. So again, this might be where if there's specific trees that you or others are seeing, to note like which block they're in, because then I can also get back to them and say, more specific. They sort of ask for more specifics. If we could point out where there's a specific address or a specific tree identification, so they could come out to look at them, was the question. So for you or anyone else, if you have noticed trees, I think to really note more specifically where they are is a request. They said they will look. Okay, the second issue was pickleball striping. A request to see if the tennis courts at Makakilo Community Park could be striped for pickleball courts. Again, Department of Parks and Rec said, after thoughtful review and discussion, we have decided to keep the current court configuration as it is and will not be adding permanent pickleball lines to the tennis courts at this time. We understand the challenges that come with sharing space and truly appreciate the growing interest in expanding pickleball access. However, we must also consider the needs of all park users, including those who play tennis, volleyball, and basketball. So they recommend that pickleball players may continue to use temporary tape markings when courts are available. And they said they understand this requires extra effort and sincerely appreciate the community's flexibility and commitment to make the parks work for all. That's pickleball. Member Medeiros raised next that concerns about the sidewalk and the light posts on Makakilo Drive. That there's a portion of Makakilo Drive in front of Makakilo Baptist Church with light posts in the middle of the sidewalk, making it difficult for and dangerous for pedestrians to get by. So the Department of Design and Construction has looked at it and said the 4 streetlights that you referred to were installed in the 1970s, and that was approved plans in the 1970s, apparently how we put in streetlights. They said it's technically infeasible and also would be very costly to relocate the streetlights to the median along Makakilo Drive due to existing trees and drainage. However, Department of Design and Construction is taking a look at feasibility of widening that sidewalk area behind the streetlights to allow for better access, so to widen the sidewalk there rather than move the lights, so that it would be ADA compliant and more accessible for pedestrians. They said the DDC is currently working on its study, and I should be able to provide an update by our next board meeting if they can widen the sidewalk there to make it passable. So I'm not sure if that would answer your question, but they're taking a look. Okay, so that was on the sidewalk. So they're going to see if they can widen, they're looking to see if they can widen the sidewalk there behind the light posts. Okay, next issue was crosswalk signs on Makakilo Drive that do not have an actual crosswalk painted. That is Department of Transportation Services, who said, in accordance with complete street guidelines, one of the criteria used to justify the installation of marked crosswalks is a minimum pedestrian volume of 20 pedestrians crossing within an hour period. The study they conducted found that this minimum threshold was not met at the intersection of Makakilo Drive and Kinohi Place and at Neva Street. And as such, marked crosswalks at these locations are not recommended at this time. But the intersections were evaluated due to the nearby bus stops. They then said regarding existing pedestrian warning signs, they're intended to alert motorists and that pedestrians may legally cross the roadway at any intersection within unmarked crosswalks. Let's see what else they said. If there's an unmarked crosswalk that's part of a roadway at an intersection, unless there's signs prohibiting the crossing. So pedestrians are allowed to cross at any part of the road that is unmarked, unless there's a sign prohibiting the crossing. Does that make sense? Okay. Telling you what Department of Transportation said. There was another crosswalk question regarding crosswalks on Palahia Road near the community park. And Department of Transportation Services said they will conduct an investigation on Palahia Street in the vicinity of the community park, and we can report back on the findings once they complete the study of that area. Crosswalks. We can follow up if there's more. The next issue was illegal dirt bike riding. It was raised that the area behind Royal Ridge subdivision has a lot of illegal dirt bikes. And HPD reported back that they did share that information with the patrol officers in this area so they could make periodic checks. And they also encouraged any kind of, if you see any kind of illegal activity, such as illegal dirt bike riding, that any community member should please call 911 for an immediate response to address it, like at the spot. But they did say they would share it with patrol officers to try to keep an eye on that area for the dirt bikes. And then affordable housing on Kapolei Parkway that was in the news, and concerns were raised by numerous people about affordable housing announced. Department of Housing and Land Management noted that the city has selected a preferred negotiating partner, but there is no final project design at this time. The city will require that critical elements, including site layout, open space, traffic circulation, parking, and safety will be fully evaluated and addressed throughout the planning and review process. And that process will include additional opportunities for public input. They noted they shared the comments and concerns that I provided from this last meeting with the project team for awareness and consideration, and as they continue refine the development program. They did note specifically traffic operations, emergency access, and evacuation capacity will be evaluated because I raised those were concerns from the group last time. And no development can move forward without meeting applicable safety and infrastructure standards. But the city's goal is to move forward responsibly, transparently, and with continued community engagement as we continue the process. So keep giving feedback. Okay, I think that was there was a lot of questions that are concerns raised at the last time. So
Awesome. To help everyone, thank you for
Yes.
the thorough homework.
I had a lot of
report.
homework in the last
Appreciate
meeting.
it.
So
To help everyone keep on topic, let's start thematically and let's look at the Makakilo Drive and any related tree issues first. So let's speak to that. Dr. Dudley. go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to apologize for my outburst.
passion. I enjoy
I am
passion. It's okay.
so frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, any fool can get in their car and drive up that street and look at the trees and realize tree after tree after tree has lost 3/4 of their leaves. I mean, what does it take? What does it take? I want to ask you personally to get the mayor himself, to send somebody out to take a look at that. And I want a report from the mayor next meeting. We've been through this for 5 meetings now. And you know, the truth of the matter is we're losing millions of dollars of trees. And it's not just there. Any fool can drive up and down the freeway and see that there are trees dead on both sides, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. You know, what on earth is eating the trees? We've got to find out. Now, these guys, they're not doing their job. You know, they're not doing their job. We've got to find out what is eating the trees because we're going to be. I was looking today at there was a fruit tree, there was a flower tree, there was just, a tree after tree has not a single leaf on it, not a single leaf. Why? It's a lack of water. Baloney. We've got enough water. The tree right next to it is in perfect condition. There's not enough water? Give me a break. I mean, these guys are lying. They're just simply lying. Get the mayor to take on the issue because it's not just Makakilo Drive. You go up to Mililani Town, drive down that Meheula Drive. It's all dead trees, dying trees. Go down through the area at Waikele, drive in there, take a look at all the trees, they're dying. We are losing millions upon millions upon millions of dollars worth of trees. Some fool is in charge of causing us not to do anything, and we've got to turn that around. By next meeting, please. Thank you.
Mahalo. Anyone else wishing to speak about the trees conditions on Makakilo Drive? Okay. Hearing none, let's go to the next matter, which is regarding pedestrians, sidewalks, crosswalks, and the intersections. So anyone wishing to speak to those at this time, please go right ahead.
Thank you, number one. Thank you so much for even doing the research and the homework. I appreciate your time. I know you are inundated with other things, but the questions I asked came from constituents. So I'm just going to sum up what I heard from the people that provided you that information. Accountability. There are too many times where constituents come here or we are asked by constituents to do something. And they come here and they speak and they share their concerns. And it's acknowledged here at the moment. And then it just stays in information space. No more. So I am not going to accept that they're still considering it or at some time. These constituents deserve a date. When are you going to consider it? Is it 2 months? Is it a year? They're paying their salary. These are taxpayers. They deserve an answer. And no more are they going to just come here and not be, at least have a follow-up to their questions. And the pickleball line, unacceptable. It's a line. All you got to do is paint it. The community said they would paint it. Tell us what the guidelines are, and they'll paint it. No work for the city and county, they would do it. I don't understand. That makes no sense to me, logically. The ADA, I'm glad they did the history and looked at it was built in the 70s. That's irrelevant. It's still not in compliance. So are we going to wait until another person with disabilities falls onto Makakilo Drive and almost gets hit? That's how this came about. I was door to door. And this Air Force retired service member who's training to adaptive sports, he traverses through that. So you're telling me that those people are telling me, oh, well, maybe we'll consider. No, unacceptable. Are we going to wait till another person drops on Makakilo Drive? He literally had to go on Makakilo Drive. He fell off his wheelchair, almost got hit. So are we waiting for a fatality to do something? Unacceptable. And so I did follow up with the letter. No one responded to me when I initially sent it off to the Department of Transportation, DPP, City and County, the ADA. ADA did respond to me. But This is a huge federal violation. I hope they understand that. It's a federal violation for ADA. Ignoring it and saying, oh, sometime, and unacceptable. And this year, we're gonna make sure that that gets changed. They can do, they've already explained that they can fix it. So when are they gonna fix it? But I don't like to kill the messenger, it's not you. And it just goes to everything that you said. It's the people that are reporting to you to report to us. It's unacceptable. We need dates. I'm going to consider it that we need 3 months to consider how we're going to fix this. Or no, and give me an explanation why. The pickleball line, unacceptable. I'll paint it. Tell me what the parameters are. It's not going to hurt anybody. I don't understand why they would tell community members who are taxpayers that keep making a makeshift line. That's ridiculous. Somebody needs to start making sense here. And this year is accountability. So let them all know that that's unacceptable. They need to provide a timeline when they're going to consider it, because these are taxpayers that are paying their salaries. But thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Mahalo. Anyone else wishing to speak about pedestrian ways, public right-of-ways, crosswalks, or intersections? And okay, go right ahead. Recognizing board member Sheila Medeiros already went to pickleball and park, so we'll come back to that.
We can circle back.
Go right ahead, Carol, member
You
Carol
mentioned-
England.
Oh, okay. You mentioned sidewalks, Chair.
Yep.
Can you repeat that one statement where if there is not a marking, it is okay for pedestrians to cross?
Let's see, no crosswalks. Okay, they said, regarding the existing pedestrian warning signs posted along Makakilo Drive, they are intended to alert motorists of potential pedestrian crossings in the area. While marked crosswalks are not provided, pedestrians may legally cross the roadway at any intersection within its unmarked crosswalks, that part of a roadway at an intersection included within the connections of the lateral lines of the sidewalks on opposite sides of the highway measured from the curbs, or in the absence of curbs from the edges of the traversable roadway, unless there are signs prohibiting the crossing. I might need a diagram myself, but it seems to me that you are pedestrians, and I think this is true elsewhere. Pedestrians are allowed to cross anywhere where they deem it to be safe on the roadway, unless there are signs prohibiting the crossing.
And that's on Makakilo Drive. If that's where we're addressing, there is a sign
Yep.
that has absolutely no markings, and it's not close to an intersection.
An
If it
intersection.
was in the middle of the road. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have cars flying down that hill. It's a problem. And can I address the fact that I know in town, if you cross without a light, it is jaywalking. So now we're saying it's okay to jaywalk down a busy road. I'm just getting that clear in my head.
That is how it reads to me, that it is allowable to cross. Pedestrians may legally cross the roadway at any intersection within its unmarked crosswalks unless there are signs prohibiting the crossing.
Okay, is everybody as confused as I am? Yes.
I
Unless-
seek clarity on that, and I understand the concern is along Makakilo. Are there certain sections along Makakilo that you are looking to have a crosswalk installed? There are, correct? Where the sign is.
There is a sign right past the church.
Yep.
And it's in front of some townhomes.
Which is where they looked and said there is.
But there's no intersection there. It is just
Right.
a road.
It's just a road.
Yeah, there's no lights, there's no intersection. It really looks like someone wanted to put a crosswalk there and just didn't do it. It's just weird. So anyway,
Got it.
but what if someone says, well, I'm going to go up a little higher and cross the street? I mean, yeah. Anyway. Can you get some
I can
clarity?
try
I'm making
to
a
see some
diagram for us.
additional
to see.
clarity on that as well. And again, their answer was generally that the criteria for marked crosswalks is 20 pedestrian crossings in a 1 hour period. And at that, the intersection of Makakilo Drive near Kinohi Place at Neva Street does not have that volume. Is that the intersection? Yeah, we can double check that intersection. Okay. I will try to get some more clarity, but yes, Dr. Bossler. Sorry.
Let's go to Board Member McFerra, then Dr. Dudley afterwards.
So back when Makakilo Drive was being repaved, this complete streets report that they came out with, they were going to remove 7 crosswalks. They went out and did this test to see if there were at least 20 people using the crosswalks per hour. They didn't do it during school hours when children were traversing these crosswalks. Those crosswalks have been there since long before we even had 11,000 people on that hill. Now we're at 20,000 people on that hill. And I see it was just an insult to my intelligence for them to say, since nobody's using the crosswalk, we're going to take them out. And we're going to leave the signs up. And then even more insanity is an unmarked crosswalk. Now, as a person driving a car, I've asked people, do you know what an unmarked crosswalk is when you come down Makakilo Hill? And they go, what's that? Exactly. So they're just going to come barreling up and down the hill. They don't see a crosswalk. What I wanted to see when they repaved it was that they not only put the crosswalks back in, that they put the little things that you push the button and you see the flashing sign like they have out in Coalina. You know, you got all kinds of people going back and forth to work that park across from all the resorts, and they push that little button and everybody stops. You go to Kihei in Maui, and there's probably 10 or 12 of them going all the way down the main drag. I didn't take Roger Morton's advice that these complete street reports had any legitimacy. As a matter of fact, they spent $98 million for a pedestrian bridge down on Ala Moana Boulevard. And it wasn't because they had so many people crossing the streets. It's because some guy was being chased by the police and some pedestrians got hit. So all of a sudden, this money magically appears and they built this bridge. Well, I went down there and sat that bridge for 4 or 5 hours. I couldn't get 10 people in an hour crossing that bridge. So are they going to close the bridge? Are they going to tear the bridge down? We keep getting treated like second-class citizens out here in Second City. We were supposed to be a city by now. We're sitting here in our city hall that we're supposed to have. And we still keep getting told, oh yeah, we got unmarked crosswalks. You're not using them, so we're going to take them away. Crosswalks don't cost anything. And there's been a couple of times I've been tempted to get a bunch of residents together and go paint those crosswalks. You know, just go put them in, you know, and I haven't, but it's gotten to the point now where it's ridiculous because I'm not the only one that's noticed it. I thought, well, maybe I'm just nuts. Maybe I'm just, you know, because I'm the transportation chair that I should advocate for anything but yet they're spending $100 and $200 million on bike paths going all the way to town and things like that. I don't see that many people using the bike paths either, where we've got 20,000 people who can use the Makakilo Drive completion and go straight to the Skyline, or ambulances can get people to the hospital a minute earlier. So I'm still pushing for the crosswalks to come back. And in addition to that, have some sort of a, you know, light that, you know, comes on. But for them to have said that, you know, not that many people use it, I see little kids running across that street, and I've almost, you know, we've had We've got a bench up there for a kid that got killed. We've got one other young lady down by Malama Market got wiped out and killed. We've probably had 6 or 7 people killed on Makakilo Drive, all because we refuse to make it safer. We can't have speed humps because, oh, the angle of the road's too steep. We can't have anything on Makakilo Drive yet. It's got a nickname now with people in my neighborhood. It's called Blood Alley. And it shouldn't. You can go all over the island and see all kinds of safety things that they've put in here and there. And when it comes to us, they're taking out crosswalks. Somebody wiped out the sign in front of the fire station that used to be able to show you the speed you're doing. When it got wiped out, they said, well, you know, we don't need that either. And they took it out. So I think I'm going to start cranking it up again now that we got a lot of new people in the legislature and everything like that in trying to fight for this stuff, because we're getting more people, yet we've got less protection on a road that is dangerous. I mean, if you see all the crashes, you go up any month, I don't know why it's more people coming uphill. Maybe they're coming home drunk, right? And they're hitting 6 parked cars. And those cars will sit there for a month afterwards. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. And I've contemplated quitting this position because I get absolutely nowhere with anything that even the simplest stuff, a crosswalk. I can't get the Makakilo Drive completion done, but even a crosswalk, and we're just kind of like brushed off. And we're going to hold their feet to the fire, I think. I've decided. We got a lot of new people on my board, and they're bringing it up. A lot of my residents are bringing it up, and I think it's time to start firing it up again, because Roger Morton, he tends to look at us as if we're second-class citizens and tells us, well, because I've got this report of complete streets that you well, it makes no sense whatsoever. And I roundly reject the complete streets report because it doesn't serve us in our community. That's all I've got for now.
Thank you, Member Ferreira. Now let's go back to Board Member Dr. Dudley.
I want to support everything that Mick said, but you know, the truth of the matter is, nobody cares. I mean, you know, the city. I'm so sick of the city government. I'm so sick of the crookedness that's going on in the city council. I'm so sick of the fact that you know, they won't look at the trees. They won't do anything about Makakilo Drive, the street and traffic and so forth. Today, I was driving up Makakilo Drive, and I see cars stopping on the other side. And then I realized there are people running across the street, and they ran and jumped over into my side of the street. You know, for God's sakes, we've got to do something. I think that you've got to go to the mayor and tell him, you know, the people out there are really ticked at us because we are really ticked at the city. And we are the neighborhood board, and it's time for him to get going on fixing things for us. The thing that we need on that street is blinking lights at every single street corner, every single one. You know, we can't put humps out there, thank God, because they tried putting a hump at the top and we fought it and stopped it. But, you know, the cars are coming down there at 50 miles an hour. You got to stop it. You know, people are going to get killed. Thank you. Get to the mayor, please.
Okay, any other questions, comments, or concerns regarding that part of the report back? Any from the community at large? Come on up. Please reintroduce yourself and share your question, concern, or comment.
Well, my name is Mike. I'm concerned about sidewalks. It's not part of Makakilo, but it's part of Hale, Campbell Industrial. I work down that site and I have to travel with my electric scooter. And there's a lot of debris on the sidewalk from the homeless it's not safe. I mean, there's times I gotta dodge and almost like crash because the debris and also large grass because of a lot of rain we have. So I'm asking, can the mayor or whoever clean up the sidewalks and the debris? The trees, not the trees, but the grass is overgrown. It's like this the sidewalk, and right there is the tree, and I only have this much space because that's the road. See, there's Hale Boulevard. So, I cannot give you the street name. I think it's Opakapaka. That's by CVS Distribution Center. From that side on, that gotta be cleared up because there's a lot of homeless and even pallets, wooden pallets. Another issue is Komi Loop. I've been seeing a lot of tires, toilets, debris because if the convenience centers don't take it, people just illegal dump those tires or other illegal dumping. I know I gotta report it, but it's like nothing's happening. So,
Mahalo, Brother Mike, for coming out and sharing that concern. Please do get back to us if there's specific locations that you do recall later on. You can hit me up and I can get it to the mayor's office or use your new Fandango 311 app. So. Okay, any others regarding crosswalks, intersections, sidewalks, pedestrian and rights of ways? Right ahead.
Hi, hey, my name is Lisa Kelly. I don't live in Makakilo, but just to, and this is actually more about the pickleball courts. As a completely amateur pickleball player, I can tell you that putting the lines down there does not prevent them from still playing tennis. It allows them to have tennis players play and pickleball players. So I don't understand, again, like she's saying, why that can't go down there. It can be both tennis and pickleball. Just my thought.
Hello, that's a good segue. So anyone wishing to speak about parks and the pickleball snafu that we have that going on with the rising amount of members wanting to get fit and engage in this sport, but having to MacGyver courts all across the district, not just in Makakilo. Okay, go right ahead, Dr. Bosler.
Sorry, I was so moved by all of the speakers as well. I totally agree. We have in high school, I was a high school teacher for a long time. We had our sports team sharing the same field, no problem. We have soccer, football, everybody shares, everybody knows whose line is who. It's not a big deal. It's paint. It's $20 probably in paint, maybe a little more because we have to import it and we have extra fees now, but still, it's next to nothing and it doesn't inconvenience. And the comment about thank you for being understanding and I forget the exact wording you used. It was basically for being flexible. There's no flexibility. You're saying no, but with a smile. So if we could respectfully say, please put the paint down with a bigger smile. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak about the pickleball or parks related snafus that we're running into? Okay. So we went through all of those areas. Okay, so after hearing from everyone, it would be super helpful, maybe, for us to help you ask all of the relevant parties involved, how can we help them help us? Okay, so like, how do we help them make it possible so we can work with our community to stripe the lines ourselves? How can we work with them in order to identify the specific crosswalks that we actually would like to see because of our actual observations over decades, right? Not to speak ill of the Complete Streets numbers, but part of Complete Streets is that you got to care for pedestrians, and we're not. And part of the thing in their analysis that they're not taking into account is people going 45, 50 miles per hour on Makakilo Drive. And the speed limit is like what, 35, 25 in areas. So their metrics are already off because they're presuming slower traffic, which is not the case. And we already have encroachment into every intersection because nobody's actually enforcing the tollway zones from the intersections. So we need sidewalks, but we also need traffic calming measures that work. We heard before that the speed humps can't be done because they'll launch people into the air. What about street narrowing? Like they said we could do it on the intersection potentially for ADA compliance. I'm like, let's put them around those areas to make it so that people get a visual cue. That's not just this sign on the side that people are ignoring, but the psychology studies tell us that when things narrow, people naturally slow down. Like, so can we look into how can we accomplish these things? Because it will be another sad year if we lose more people because of the fact that we're not addressing this. So, yeah. Any final comments for the mayor's office? Okay, go right ahead. First vice chair.
Deputy Director Zeisman, you are so kind. They sent the most kindest person to us. So mahalo for everything. I don't mean to add to your load, but I do have two questions because right now I am walking around with no valid ID. And my driver's license is my ID because I have not renewed my passport. I haven't been planning to travel out. So I just haven't. So my driver's license is my ID. I renewed my license at the beginning of January, and I did not know they were going to confiscate my license and give me a temporary ID, which is on a worthless piece of paper, which very few people accept. And you can't travel with it. You can't buy age-restricted items. I wouldn't even be able to buy certain paints if I wanted to buy paint pickleball lines because I don't have a valid ID, and I need it because I run a small organization. I travel outer island. I need my ID. I need it for banking. I don't have it. Not everyone accepts that sheet of paper. And so it's very, very frustrating. I have to tell you, it's very humiliating as well when you go to the airport and you hold up the whole TSA line because they don't accept that at all. And I didn't know that because I wasn't told that when I renewed my license. In fact, I was shocked when she confiscated my license. I wanted to take back the whole renewal process because TSA still accepts an expired ID, but that worthless sheet of paper that they give you that they say is valid, it does nothing. And so my question is, how was that decision made? What evidence? How was that an evidence-based decision to take your ID away? Like, was it? I feel like it's just a trend. Let's just take the ID because there's ID theft and maybe that, but there's no evidence that links ID theft to the renewal process of legally abiding citizens. So I don't know why they took it away. It's so frustrating. And it takes 8 weeks. It's going to take me 8 weeks, to get an ID. So, and also, how do we get DMV to give us accurate information when we renew our license? Because I was told I could use that ID to travel because I knew I had to travel. And so when I got it, I was really shocked. And when I went to TSA said DMV is always telling people they can travel with that piece of paper, but they can't. The temporary, yeah. And so how can we get DMV? It's such a flawed design process, this renewal process. And I know I'm not the only one. And so those two questions will really help. Mahalo.
So to echo first vice chair, that's one of the reasons why I got my passport card for myself and the other members in our family because of that very issue that we ran into and had problems before, not being able to travel with the paper ID, even though they said that you could. So you're not alone. It's a real issue. Okay. moving-
Chair.
Yes. Oh, another on paper IDs. Go right ahead, Carol England. Oh, any other questions? Go right ahead.
Can you check to see if Department of Transportation is online before I ask the mayor, chair?
Is DTS online or DOT? I don't think Kapolei State is here today. They only send Henry like quarterly, so we'll have to send in our question. But I think if you have a question for the mayor's office, go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm also the chair for the beautification committee. And it's about getting permission to paint murals on the electrical boxes at each light. So I was waiting for Department of Transportation, but they're not here. So the chair and I were talking earlier, just perhaps bring it up to you. If you could get me a person to call.
Sure.
So I could start the process. I did meet with an artist. We do have some renditions. And now we're just looking to see the next step, which is to get permission. And then we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other steps to go.
Thank you. That's because online there is a process for like public spaces, but it's not clear whether or not it includes the utility boxes. So
That's
super helpful. And we have a question online. Celeste, community member Celeste Liwi.
Hi, sir.
ahead.
I just wanted to caveat on the crosswalks. Like, I know you guys, it has improved, but there's areas of improvement, and community members, board members have brought it up. The problem is, like, if someone, like, we don't want to wait until someone dies to take action, because that becomes negligence, like not taking action when it's brought up as a problem. So that's just my concern about these crosswalks, these kids that cross. And now coming to find out that jaywalking in Kapolei or Makakilo is legal, like that is shocking to me. But yeah, thank you, sir.
Mahalo. Any other comments, questions, or concerns for the mayor's office? And with that, let's give our wholesale support to our representative to the mayor and thank her very much
Thank
for
you, Chair.
being nice and working with us to find solutions. Okay. Now let's move to H dot, but I don't think they're here. If there's questions for them, please let me know. They usually come again quarterly. Henry comes every. Or contact them directly. Okay. Do we have Office of Hawaiian Affairs with us tonight?
Aloha.
Okay. Sure. Aloha.
Happy New Year, everyone. This is McKenna Woodward, Public Policy Advocate with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Mahalo for having me again to share some updates. So the last time I came before you, I believe was in August 2025, and I shared about OHA's Legislative Priorities Survey, which we had open for 3 months between August and October, and we received 600 responses. So I just want to mahalo everyone who took the time to complete that, and give us your feedback as far as what you would like to see from OHA this year in terms of advocacy. Now that 2026 legislative session has officially begun, some of our advocates and trustees went to the state legislature last week for opening day, and we shared our district primers with the representatives, senators, and their staff, which had information, pretty much the same information as the presentation I gave back in August about, what OHA's been doing in the different communities. So with that being said, I'm very excited to share with you. OHA has our package. We have 6 bills in our package this year. They're directly in response to the key issue areas identified in the survey, and most, if not all, I think, the board and community will be interested in. So again, we do have those 6. In the interest of time, I'm just going to keep 30,000 feet overview, broad of what they are. But if you're interested in checking those out, we do have them posted on our website at www.oha.org/advocacy. That will tell you all of the bill numbers. You can sign up for action alerts when they get referred to committees. We have, draft sample testimony. If you are supportive of the bills and you want to share your feedback to the legislature. And we also have public policies email. So if you have any specific questions, you'll be able to find that there as well. So again, that's at www.oha.org/advocacy. Okay, and so again, moving just very high level over our 6 bills. First, relating to the Island Burial Councils. So as many of you know, our IBCs exist to protect Native Hawaiian unmarked burials that are often disturbed during construction. Unfortunately, some of the smaller burial councils can't reliably meet or take formal action due to vacancies, which delays a lot of important decisions. So to address that issue, this bill would authorize OHA to provide stipends for MOCU representatives, which reduces financial barriers to service, and it also reforms the quorum requirements based on just the numbers of seats that are currently filled, so that councils can meet and make decisions even when there's vacancies, which happens a lot. Our next bill is relating to historic preservation also. So in 2025, Act 293 passed relating to historic preservation. And unfortunately, this act carved out broad and imprecise exemptions for properties that might lie in sensitive areas that are likely to contain burials in iwi kupuna, even if that might not have been the initial intent. So to narrow and minimize those unintended negative consequences, this bill would change the exemption to more specifically target areas that are less likely to contain burials and cultural deposits. Next, we have a bill relating to the Land Use Commission. As many of you know, the LUC is responsible for making statewide zoning decisions over best uses. So the bill would mandate that at least one LUC member have expertise in water resource management. That way we can make sure that we're balancing different needs, like the need for more affordable housing with, proper stewardship and resource management. Next, we have our bill relating to commercial aquarium collection. This was originally passed as a resolution from the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, and I know a few different counties have passed resolutions on this as well. So the extraction of reef fish for export as aquarium pets removes important species from our reefs. These fish are needed for ecosystem health, subsistence fishing, and recreational tourism activities. So in light of that, this bill would permanently ban commercial aquarium collection while preserving the right to take fish for scientific and educational institutions or for subsistence fishing. Next, we have OHA 5, which is actually it would be on the ballot in 2026 if it were to pass this legislative session. And this would amend the Hawaii state constitution to prohibit live fire military training. So this comes, as I'm sure many of you are aware, with the conversations around the military leases that are coming up, and the military is applying for those to be renewed. OHA has had a lot of different community meetings. We had one on Oahu, we had one on Big Island and Kauai, and we're planning one on Maui as well. Just with respect to this issue, the chair of our board has been going to talk to community about this. So this bill specifically would give the people of Hawaii the opportunity to protect public trust lands through a proposed constitutional amendment that, as I said, would ban military destructive live fire training. So in order to amend the Constitution, it is a higher bar than a regular bill. It would need a 2/3 majority of the legislature. And then a majority of all voters would need to vote on the ban, and no votes would count against that. So I just wanted to flag that as well. And last but not least, we have our bill relating to rent stabilization. One of the most common responses we got on our legislative priorities survey was relating to affordability, specifically around housing. We did a lot of research on this and found that just in, for example, 2022 alone, we had 67,000 former residents move out of Hawaii, citing, not being able to afford mostly housing as a common example of that. And while we have heard, that we need to build more affordable housing, unfortunately, according to recent studies from I think it's DHHS, back in 2024, the amount of affordable housing that they have to be built in the pipeline will only meet 20% of what we need by 2027. So we really need some interim measures to protect tenants and renters, which are increasingly, more, I think like 40% of the state's population. I'm a renter myself. So this bill is actually pretty straightforward. It would establish a 3% cap on rent increases in any 12-month period. So I want to be clear, it's not rent control. So it wouldn't, prohibit a landlord from raising your rent forever, but it would just allow more stability and predictability to increases, so that families can plan accordingly, especially when wages often don't match prices, which skyrocket every year. I live technically in Eva Beach, right on the border between Eva Beach and Kapolei. I can tell you, I'm not shy to share, my rent is almost $4,000 a month. Actually, it's now, with the rent increase I just got, going a little bit over $4,000 a month for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment that's less than 1,000 square feet. And it can be really detrimental, especially to people on fixed incomes. Just watching it go up every year, and a lot of the different residences I've looked at and toured are just not keeping up with what you're paying for. A lot of them are outdated, potentially have safety concerns, and so I'll go ahead and stop there because I know I've taken up some of your time already, but happy to take any questions, and thank you for the time.
Mahalo for the high-level report. Any questions, comments, or concerns from fellow board members? Going to Dr. Dudley first.
I have two, but I can't remember what the other one is. Okay, the live fire military thing. Are you saying that you want to stop all live fire from the military on all of the bases? Is that what this is all about?
So if this passed, this would only ban training on state leased lands, public trust lands, so not lands owned by the federal government.
Okay, so it wouldn't affect Pohakuloa?
I believe it would affect the part of Pohakuloa that the state owns, but I would have to go back and look at the map for that.
Interesting. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns, board or community? And Chair recognizes fellow board member Hale online. Try again, board member Hale. Okay, might be having technical difficulties, so we will move on at this time. Thank you again for the presentation from the Office of Wine Affairs. One thing, if we could kindly request that the office consider providing the OHA programming or impact within the neighborhood board district, so that it'd be clearer for us how the trust dollars are benefiting our community here. That would be super helpful.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions for OHA, let's go to our OMPO report from our board liaison, our board delegate, Uncle Frank Canario.
Yes, Mr. Chair. At the January meeting of the Citizen Advisory Committee, or CAC, OMPO Executive Director Mark Garrity reported that he and other OMPO employees would attend a transportation forum to discuss safety, sustainability, and infrastructure ahead of the state's legislative session. The Policy Board, which is now chaired by Councilwoman Okamoto with Representative Keela as vice chair, received an update on the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan, or ORTP 2050. An ORTP 2050 update was presented to the CAC by Dallas Ige of OMPO. Updates are made every 5 years as required for federal transportation funding. Despite high carpool use on Oahu, 64% of commuters drive alone. Over 1,500 respondents commented on the need for a safe, reliable, and affordable system, including complete streets and rail extensions. With a goal of zero traffic fatalities, ORTP developers compared rail, bus, and roadway services in a fiscally constrained $31.1 billion plan for 2026 to 2050. The ORTP has 120 carryover projects and 10 new ones. Then University of Hawaii professor Bruce Appleseed briefed on Streets for Public People, reimagining our streets. Pedestrian fatalities are up and livable, safe streets with adequate crossing lines are needed. Property values go down as traffic goes up. There is a conflict related to the location of friends and acquaintances. Pathways are important for children who should not have to be driven everywhere. Speed kills because the field of vision decreases with increased speed. A neighborhood street should be reduced to 25 miles per hour speeds, and street crossing distances should be shortened. Car lanes should be 9 to 10 feet wide and the number of lanes reduced. Roundabouts would help safety and controlling speed and volume. The professor closed by stating that more information and data were needed for this study. Comments on the ORTP were accepted until 21 January, so following the meeting, I found the latest version on the OMPO website and discovered that the project for completion of Makakilo Drive listed in the earlier draft had been removed from the latest version and, of course, is not included in the current Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. In other words, there is currently no plan for the drive to be completed in the next 24 years. I provided a lengthy comment on this egregious omission with copies to appropriate city and county executives, state legislatures, and Chair Paris and Transportation Committee Chair Ferrara. I also included another lengthy comment on the need for new, i.e. magnetic levitation technology for any extensions of the Skyline rail system past the Civic Center termination plan. Mahalo.
Mahalo for the thorough report and for letting us know about one of those bottleneck areas that we need in policy to actually be on a list, as Councilmember Andrea Tupola so wisely and prudently shared with us previously. We need to be on that list, and unfortunately, it seems like we were taken off. So again, this is a 20-year horizon. And it just begs the question, how are we going to actually be a priority for Governor Josh Green's housing crisis and the tens of thousands of new units out in Kapolei when we're already at capacity with certain infrastructure? Like, this is so clearly like an easy solution for us to move forward. Currently, our neighborhood board's position is that we call for a development moratorium because of the lack of infrastructure, including the completion, the promised completion of Makakilo Drive. This is not a new thing. This is not something the community hasn't been talking about. It's something that has been promised from both elected officials, administrations, and the developer when the original Kapolei was designed, and still are on the maps for many planning departments even in the state. So let's see what we can do to try and, one, get back on the list, and then two, figure out where we are with the environmental assessment, the EIS plan, and then three, getting the plan for the resources to actually make this happen. Because otherwise, I foresee our communities basically going up against every single housing development and new development in the area moving forward. People are beyond frustrated. People are concerned, but people are also trying to survive, like the sister online that's paying $4,000 plus for a 2-bedroom. So let's have hope that 2026 will get us a step closer and see what we can do together to try and fulfill our community plan for complete streets that actually care about everybody, including our pedestrians and those that are differently abled. Let's go to Board Member Mike Ferrara.
So a couple of sessions ago, we had I'd reached a frustration with the city and county of being able to complete Makakilo Drive because they were all bundled up in the rail system. And I thought that since the state was going to have some sort of involvement in getting that completed, that we take the project and move it over to the state. Now, Kanani Souza had actually introduced a couple of bills, I think it was, in the House, and they never saw the light of day for even a committee session or hearing because we have Darius Keela as the person who fought it, and we didn't even get so much as a hearing. We have him as the vice chair of OMPO, which, from what I understand, for the interest he has out on the west side, that as long as he is in position doing what he's doing, that we will never see anything done with the Makakilo Drive completion. So as long as that particular person is the vice chair, the chair, has anything to do with being in the transportation committee in the House, he is also that. We're never going to be able to get any kind of completion at all. And he wasn't even born when this project had gone into play. So when you've got certain people in the House themselves who have committed themselves to doing anything they can to stop something like that, we're dead in the water. And, recently I've asked to have the environmental report brought over from the mayor and Mike Formsby. And Mike Formsby worked on this project way back when, way before he was even Colleen Hanabusa's assistant in Washington. And he's intimately familiar with this project. But as long as you have that particular individual as the vice chair for OMPO and also the chair of the Transportation Committee in the House, Makakilo Kapolei is getting nothing, absolutely nothing. And we will never see the completion of that until he is out of office. Thank you.
Mahalo. Anyone else from the board would like to say anything? Also recognizing if Representative Darius Kila is watching this, please work with us to try and see how we can make this work, and any others involved with OMPO. We would really like to be part of the solution finding and recognize there's a whole lot of issues on the west side, including on the Waianae coast with single access. So we empathize with your pain. So how can we help west side, Waianae? How can we help Eva? How can we help Mililani? How can we help Waipio? How can we help each other to make it better? So reaching out to be solution finders, and we, yes, we'll see what we can do. Okay. Uncle Frank Canadio, go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to add, it's been over 2.5 years since we had the mayor out here to show him the end of the drive and what was needed. And for your information, I did send a copy of my comments on the ORTP to Council Member Okamoto. I don't know if it'll help, but she's now the chair of the policy board.
Excellent. Okay, we'll keep on keeping on. And as board member Sheila Madera said, accountability. So keeping our electeds accountable and helping to make our community better. So now we have two presentations.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, go right ahead, Dr. Tully.
Could I go back to the person from Office of Hawaiian Affairs and make another comment?
If they're online, is the representative from OHA still with us?
Yes, still here.
Okay, great. Okay, Dr. Dudley, go right ahead.
You know, I really think a major part of the housing problem is that we have builders who are not locals of apartment buildings who are building these apartment buildings for out-of-state people and foreigners. And I really think that OHA is the group of people that might be able to fight this the most. We really need to ban foreign purchasers of apartments in Hawaii and foreign purchasers of houses in Hawaii. And we could do that, you know, we could do this as a beginning of the sovereignty, a recognition of the Hawaiian nation. There are things that could be done, and OHA would be a good place to begin to fight it. I know the new chair of OHA is very pro-American. I know that he doesn't want to see an independent Hawaii, but you know, there are other people in OHA that could be fighting this. And the only way we're going to really have enough housing for our people is to discourage outsiders from taking the housing and the raising the prices and so forth. So I'd like to ask you to think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dudley, for reminding us of our history, where this was previously the Hawaiian Kingdom and then incorporated into the United States of America through a resolution, the Newlands Resolution, which was not a treaty of annexation, and that there is some standing for the Native peoples and for the Hawaiian nationals. Having said that, we also recognize that part of the work of Prince Kuhio, which we'll be hearing about later shortly, was going to Congress and setting up the Department of Hawaiian Homelands in 1990 in order 1920s in order to help to ensure that he could make sure that as an ali'i and as a elected official empower the Native peoples by putting them back on the land. And the Department of Hawaiian Homelands is a compact relationship between the federal government and the state because both recognize the trust responsibilities to Native Hawaiians. It is also the legal way by which the state, through the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, can privilege and preference housing to locals that have Native Hawaiian blood of 50% or more. So how can we leverage the already existing mechanism in order to build housing that's restricted for local people? Fund OHA. Fund the HHL. Because every house that the Department of Hawaiian Homeland builds is one more house for a local family and one less local family in the open market. So I think it's a solution that you all might consider again and see whether or not it's time to try and coordinate that, especially with the innovative work of the current chair of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So with that, let's go now to the presentation on the Prince Kuhio Parade, March 28, 2026. And we welcome Hale of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, Adriana Kalili.
Thank you, Chair and members, for allowing us to have some time on the agenda. I simply am here and I don't want to take up too much time to invite everyone to join us for the 2026 Prince Kuhio Parade, which is going to be on March 28th in Kapolei. This is the fourth year that we'll hold the parade in Kapolei, and it, you know, changing the location from Waikiki to Kapolei has really transformed the celebration that we have in honoring Prince Kuhio. Chair, you've already mentioned some of the work Kuhio did while he was a delegate to Congress, so I don't want to get too much into why we have the celebration, but the reason we do have it in Kapolei is because part of his legacy is the Hawaiian Homestead Program, and we have a number of homestead communities in Kapolei, so we want to honor that and celebrate in Kapolei. So our applications for parade units are online. I will put in the chat. It is on our website, Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, aohcc.org. And the deadline for participants to register is March 7th. And I mean, that's pretty much it. So we want to invite everyone, but also let everyone know we do appreciate the community's patience when it comes to, you know, we get, right, there can be some interruption for the hour that the parade is going down Kapolei Parkway from Kapolei Hale to Kamakana. But we do invite everyone to join us for the celebration. And with that, Chair, I'm open for questions if there are any.
Okay, Westside Ohana, are there any questions for the upcoming Prince Kuhio celebration and the parade? Seeing none, at this time, the chair's recommendation is that we yet again support the Prince Kuhio Parade for 2026 being hosted here in Kapolei on March 28th, starting at 5 p.m. Is there a motion? It's been moved by Dr. Bosler, second by Member Carol England. Okay. We are open to public testimony. Anyone wishing to testify about the Prince Kuhio Parade that we've going on 4 years now doing in our community? Hearing none, public testimony closed. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed say aole. Any abstentions say kanalua. Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. You have our support and just keep us in the loop on details as we move forward with celebrating the Prince.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Aloha.
Okay. Now let's invite up this evening to talk about the Kapolei Parkway's lots 2 to 5 development from the Kobayashi and Ahe group on this evening. Come on down. And this is a follow-up from the last month's meeting in which we heard multiple members of the community saying we didn't have enough time or didn't have enough understanding. So really appreciate that the Ahe group and the Kobayashi group is here tonight. So welcome. Mahalo.
Hi, my name is Elton Wong from Kobayashi Group, and we're here to kind of have the discussion that we continued from the last presentation of delivering approximately 800 units over probably about a 6-year span. Chair asked us to address your questions, and I'm not too sure if you had a chance to look at them. Did they have the written distributed?
So the written responses were circulated to the board and it's in part of the board packet. So they took the time, the Kobayashi and Ahe groups took the time to write a written response and it's available on the Google Drive. So feel free to cover some highlights and then we can go straight into any clarifying questions after that.
Basically, all those comments that you had were great comments. In development, there's a lot of trade-offs. You know, water for plants, water for edible, land for putting it in parking and underground is a little more expensive. Trying to build for hurricane-proof homes, just gonna drive up the whole cost. So it's really a cost benefit. This project is being competitively bid within HHFDC for LIHTC housing, rental revolving housing fund, Hula May. And if our prices and go higher than the competitors, we wouldn't be able to. So we need to kind of be within the pricing to be able to do this job. We're not trying to ask for doing any more. We like some of the ideas, so we can do a community garden. We tried to do things for the school, so we have 2 preschools. If we have another operator, a nonprofit, we would definitely try to do that again. We have in Kapolei, we have 4 classrooms with 120 and another 4 classrooms with 40 kids that were, and they're basically serving medium 60% in AMI and lower. So they're satisfying at very little cost. So I can take any questions. I think we tried to explain what the benefits were to not doing some of these things, and some of these things we can definitely implement. So appreciate your comments, if any.
Thank you. Any follow-up comments, questions, or concerns? And we will start with Dr. Dudley.
In the last month, I've really become aware of a building with concrete. And actually, we have a bill now before the legislator. All legislators, listen, please. But the bill is, one of the things in the bill gives developers of houses 50% tax break on the sales price of the house if they make it out of concrete with windows that withstand 200-mile-an-hour winds. That's not terrible much for a house, because their taxes on a house is only like $48,000 on the sales price average. But their savings is half of that, which is 24,000, which is at least considerable. I'd like to suggest that you all start taking a look at that and take a look at the bill, try to push it through, because I think it's terribly important. The thing about concrete houses is that they cost between 5% and 12% more than houses made of wood. However, when you take just the electricity costs, their cost is, let's say 3%, and the cost of wood houses is 10%. So, you're saving 70% of your electric bill you no longer pay because your house is made out of concrete. There are other things like your house insurance is going to be so much cheaper, and your hurricane insurance is going to be almost non-existent because you've got a house that will withstand the 200-mile plus winds and will last for 300 years, as opposed to a wooden house that lasts for 100 years. And when you start taking the advantages of the insurance and the hurricane insurance and the electric costs and all the other advantages, that pretty soon you begin to realize that concrete houses really are much more advantageous to build and own than are wooden houses. Wooden houses burn like that. Concrete houses take 3 hours before they begin to burn. There are just so many advantages. I wish you folks would begin to look at that, because we, honest to God, now that we've seen that we had 5 hurricanes in the Atlantic this year, 3 of those 5 hurricanes were Category 5s. The winds in Jamaica were the strongest winds ever recorded on Earth. The second strongest winds were Hurricane Iniki on Kauai, by the way. So there are just so many advantages of, and there are different ways. You could build it out of concrete brick. You could build it out of ICFs. And the ICFs are forms that have cement inside, and you can put wood on the outside and do anything else you want to do with it. So there's so many things you need to start looking into. And if we're able to get these tax breaks through, there's going to be tremendous advantages to doing that. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea to encourage concrete buildings.
Thank you.
Part of the weakness, as we explained, is we, even for Kapolei Parkway Lot 6 and 7, our windows, we're having a difficult time meeting 123 miles per hour, let alone 200. Our code is kind of the same as Florida. So having 123 mile per hour windows were expensive to bring in, but that's the new code that we're trying to live up to. And I guess you could still have those windows, but you would have to probably put shutters or something to kind of protect them in case of a hurricane of 200 miles per hour. So again, that just added cost, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the board at this time? Not? Okay, Dr. Dudley.
I just want to say that I know there is extra cost, but the question is, this board is really taking some strong stands, and I strongly oppose your project if it will not withstand Category 5, because we're going to have Category 5. There's no more Category 1 hurricanes, and we've got to get used to the fact that they're getting stronger and stronger, and we've got to build for them. And anything that we build that is not built for Category 5 hurricanes is a sin.
Mahalo. We do appreciate the Kobayashi Group coming out. To date, out of all of the housing developers, since we promulgated our resolution in 2023, clarifying our position on multifamily development and the 17 criteria that we actually heard from the community and put into a list, they're the only developer that has come back and actually addressed every single one. So I think that's part of the benefit of having a local developer, because they live here with us. So I think it might behoove the board and the community to try and see how we can help acknowledge and recognize those areas that are outside of the developer's control, and that we can help them to try and address them in policies. Because I agree with Dr. Dudley that we do not have an emergency disaster plan for certain extreme weather events. Like, all of the shelters are not rated that high. And it is also an issue that we don't have enough housing for all of our community members right now. So we are balancing between priorities. So whatever we can do to try and help us move forward and get there, I think the better. So at this time, let's open up for comments and questions from the community at large. Let's start online with Johnny May Perry.
Thank you, Chair. I'm having, the question I have is, how many square feet is the smallest unit? Are you going to have solar panel? The streets need to be widened because fire department have problem with narrow roads, and it's a chronic problem in a lot of neighborhoods where there's insufficient street parking. I was recently on a Zoom meeting and was told by Rep Matsumoto there is no hula May. So if you have, can you answer any of the questions that I just posed? Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny May Perry.
Yeah, let me try to answer as much as I kind of remember. We will have PV panels and batteries for renewable. We have that at Kapolei 6 and 7, and we're going to have this on lots 2 through 5. The streets, we're actually not going to build additional streets. We found out in Kapolei that the speeds there don't warrant additional cross streets. So there were a lot of accidents in Kapolei 6 and 7. We put in 2 traffic lights. We want to put 1 more at Kamaha Aha Street. So that'll be a total of 3. If we put additional streets, people will try to cross, and there's a lot of accidents and a few deaths from my understanding. So we aren't going to add any additional narrow streets to that. What was your other comments that were?
Smallest square foot in your unit.
So we are in Kapolei 6 and 7. We had some studios which were as small as 360 square feet. We're not going to have any studios in this next subdivision. It's going to be about 500 but we're adding a lot of more 3 and 4 bedrooms that are needed within the community for the bigger families.
Okay, thank you. Because there's a problem in a unit in downtown where the footage is around less than
100.
360 and they're having hard time renting it. So, I know you want to get the most for your money, but we shouldn't be squeezed in a tiny box.
Yeah, no, we understand that, and that's why we're not doing any studios.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
No problem. Let's go to the next person online, which is Celeste Leary.
Hi,
Go ahead.
sir. Thank you so much. Just a question. What I'm worried about is sewage, because more people, and if it's not sufficient sewage, then it becomes a community problem. And um, drainage. I know that on the other side, there's a drain area.
Yep.
But we noticed where you guys are building, it was also an area that looked like a drain area, just in case there was floods or extreme water or something. There was an area there also. Was that taken in consideration when building that area?
So Kapolei is a master plan community. Everything in terms of sewer, water, electricity is all planned out. So the basins that you see are to hold water. And as we build, there's a 66-inch drain line that goes along Palalai, not Palai, Village Walk. It continues down. So as we build, we have to build in that sequence so that the drainage can either go into the basement or go into the outfall of the streams that will take it down to the ocean. So we are looking at the master plan. We're following the master plan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mahalo, any other questions online or in person? In person, can we get you, Dr. Dudley, can you pass off the microphone to our community member? Yeah, that way you can stay at the microphone to answer. Yeah, make it.
Yeah, so my name is Leticia Hernandez. I am a resident of the villages of Kapolei. First of all, I wanted to start by saying thank you for putting the light at Kunehi. That was very much needed. I speak on behalf of a parent. My child attends Ho'okele Elementary. I did hear you say approximately 800 homes within the next 6 years. When the 2 divisions opened up, a lot of kids went to our school.
100.
We are over capacity. The last meeting that I had with Principal Renke, when you're talking about another 800 homes, potentially it's more than 800 students that will be attending the school. Is there anything in plans of trying to make sure that we get on board with the Department of Education to increase schooling in our district? Because what's going to happen is the generations to come are going to lack the education, the teacher ratio, the capacity, you name it, it's going to start. My grandson this year was one of the ones that was affected, and he's only in 2nd grade. The day of teacher orientation, we got notified he had a new teacher. He had a new room. And then halfway through the 1st quarter, now he has another teacher because that teacher was only an interim teacher. And I think it's just, we need to put a little bit of more conscientious effort into that, because you're not the only developer that is developing homes in Kapolei. And I think, whether it's going to be the state or the Department of Education, somebody needs to start fast tracking this, because when Honouliuli opened a few years ago, my daughter sat on as an 8th grader. She is now 25 years, and it took over 10 years to see the seed being implemented to fruition. and it's gonna take time. And in 6 years, we may not have schools built then. So if that's something that you guys could take a look into.
We reached out to the Department of Education. And basically there was a capacity of 1,000 students at Honokai. They were at 771. So that kind of addresses the capacity of school physically, but maybe not the teachers and the resources that they provide. So yeah, I acknowledge that.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you. I actually am probably one of the strongest proponents for more affordable housing. And I wanted to first say, though, that I have noticed the difficulties because I live right there at the end where one of the new developments will be in Pohokala, which is one of the HOAs right there. So I have noticed because I take my kids by bike to school, there's a ton of kids, but there's also, there's not any built-in recreational area for the people living at the villages of Kapolei, or not the villages, the Kapolei Village Parkway. They don't have like a park or areas for children to play. And I don't mind, honestly, sharing our community, which is an HOA thing. So technically we're not supposed to, but I don't mind. Other people might, but I don't care. But I really wish that there would be more recreational space for those kids in their own area. They don't have a swimming pool. So what happens when a kid jumps the fence and is in our swimming pool and something happens to them, then it makes it our duty. And so I really wish there was more recreational thought into this building. And the newest plan, I only saw like one picture. I don't think you guys are fully developed on what your plan is, but the newest plan was so stark. Like it didn't represent a place where all kinds of families are going to live. And we've had other developers come here like Lima, who's putting something up by Target, and they're talking about putting a park across the street, having kapuna and, keiki centers. I want the affordable housing. If we're going to be cramped, I want people to be able to enjoy where they live and to get along with their neighbors and not be smoking at their front door or yelling or, because they don't have a space with shade, they're over in it. So I want us to all get along. And so it's really important to me that you guys rethink what amenities they have. Oh, but I do love the Kamehameha preschool and Keiki Aina, which my own children went to. I love those preschools, and I am so thankful you put them in. I wish my kids would have been able to use them. They're too old now, but if we could do that in the next development as well, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Next community member? Yeah, right ahead.
Hello, my name's William Albritton, a Makakilo resident, and I just had one question. Y'all were talking about the hurricane and making the building stronger, but it's too costly. Is there a way, instead of the whole building, just have a separate part of it as a shelter that we could add to this development instead of the whole thing stronger?
I think one of the suggestions was to make our parking structure kind of sheltered, but again, it would have to be enclosed, it have to be ventilated, and there's a lot of other problems, but it is not a place. There are within the community emergency shelters. I believe I listed 4 in our packet that are places for the community to go in case of a disaster or a hurricane.
Mahalo. Yes, we thank you for the report back. We thank you for recognizing that there are designated shelters, but we also recognize that those shelters aren't actually usable for the types of extreme weather events that we're looking at. We also recognize in cases of like things like tsunamis or other types of emergency engagements, there's gridlock. So our community members can't actually get to those places, even though they're not up to code to actually help them. So as we work into the master plan community here, I don't think it envisioned that there would be gridlock in no one could get to emergency shelters. So trying to figure out ways to shelter in place, which is what the government actually tells us, right? Shelter in place if you can, will be super helpful. And one of the examples we like to point towards is the beautiful Campbell Square. Like the Campbell buildings, 3-story reinforced concrete stone buildings and an underground parking lot that they created. I think that's a model for what we might look at. Not sure how feasible it is now, right? Because that was built like in 1990s, but they're even LEED certified. So I'm like, they put in some resources, recognizing that that was for business ventures. But when people tell us it can't happen, we have examples in our own community where it has. So the question is, how can we help you to get to something like that with your constraints would be super helpful. If there's any creative thinking that you think might make work, we'd be super open to try and see what we can do on the policy side with our elected officials in order to see if we can make something better, including the need for recreation in that area on city land. Okay, so let's go to the next community member. Come on down.
Hi, so I am Alicia Kelly. I'm actually the HOA Mehana Vice President. I spoke rather extensively last time with you guys, and since then, you and I sat down with Danielle, the property manager over there. Thank you for that time. Thank you for going through those things. But I'd like to actually kind of ask a few questions to follow up to some of that. One thing that I suggested, Ash requested, was, is it possible to make a designated smoking area for them in that facility? Because that would kind of maybe help to alleviate them from coming over to our side and standing in front of our doors and smoking everything from cigarettes to weed. So just wondering if there's been any action taken on that consideration.
The LIHTC properties are non-smoking properties, so we actually can't do that. But we got to figure out something so they don't smoke, and we got to tell if you can identify the people, we will tell our people you can't go to Mehana and smoke. And I think you have to some degree.
Yes, and I have, and Danielle has been very responsive to it. However, come a pause for effect, I don't want to have to do that every day.
Sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if we can do some preventive maintenance instead of worrying about it after the fact, that's what I like to do.
Okay.
In addition to another thing I brought up was speed bumps. You told me that we can't put speed bumps like the one that's over there by the elementary school.
We have speed bumps there, to slow some of it.
No. I'm talking about on our main roads that are going into the community. Because now that these roads have opened up because your development is in place now, there's people flying up and down those main roads going into the community. To include that crosswalk area on that main crosswalk that all of the kids in both neighborhoods use to go to school every day.
So the ones that are crossing Kunehi,
There's one in place at Kunehi already.
we installed that.
Right. So if we can do that at each street down as you develop, I think that would be highly beneficial.
At Village Walk?
So yes, Village Walk all the way down to the courthouse as you develop down. Every time you go across the street, I think that would be highly beneficial to help slow down the traffic, because I see so many people going in and out of there speeding all day, every day. There's social media reports throughout all of Mehana of people complaining about, now that the roads are opened up, people are flying up and down that road.
We can look into it. We can ask, we weren't planning to do any new streets. So we can try and look and see what we can do on the existing streets.
Okay. Also too, another thing that's causing them to come over into our space is there's a trash dump only on one side of their block. So it's easier for them, and or they're too lazy, whatever you want to call it, to walk right across the street and to use our trash dumps. Is it possible to have trash dumps on both sides of the block, or something a little bit more feasible for them so that they don't have a reason to come over to our side?
We can ask Danielle.
Yeah. Another thing that I brought up in this board meeting last time, was the safety issue. And this for me has always been and still is to this day, the very first and priority reason that we need to look at something in this new development stuff. It is because that road that fronts up against Mehana is right there next to a sidewalk.
Village Walk.
Yeah, the village walk. What I was told a year ago, by Sean, I think it was from your,
Yes.
was that the original plans had about a 3-foot wall built there between that road and that sidewalk for safety reasons. But city and county wiped that off of there because they didn't want there to be a division between the two neighborhoods. I've also gone through Andrew Tupola and her people trying to address that issue, have it relooked at, something to that effect. And it's really kind of a brick wall, no pun intended. But is it possible that you can maybe readdress that from your side to see if that can get put back in? Or is there something we can do or the board here can do to help to kind of facilitate that going back in?
I didn't believe it was in. It was a master plan community, the way that they planned the walkway path and the driveway. But I can look into it again. Maybe I'm wrong.
I get you, but just to kind of caveat that a little bit, I get a master plan, but if a master plan includes a road right next to a sidewalk, it's not a very good master plan. Just saying. That's all I got.
Thank you for addressing the current concerns. And for those online or not as knowledgeable with the situation, it's because this is a new development that's right next to an older development that's already impacting our community. So we're trying to use the lessons learned and best practices to try and address future problems before they come up. Thank you so much, community members, for coming out and sharing that. And thank you, developer, for coming out and listening.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could I make one more comment?
Oh, okay. Dr. Dudley, go right ahead.
Yes, it's been said tonight that there are community shelters. I want to be very, very clear that I really am an expert on this, okay? I've made a 1-hour TV program about hurricanes and so forth. There are no shelters that will withstand more than a Category 1 hurricane. Now, some might be good for a 2, but they're not certified for a 2 because they're not able to be certified. We cannot call our hurricane shelters. We have to call them refuge areas because they don't reach the standard of hurricane shelters, which is to withstand a Category 3. We do not have any place on this island whatsoever that can withstand a Category 3, 4, or 5 hurricane. Okay, so we got to get really clear here. That's what's coming is 3, 4s, and 5s because of the warmer and warmer seas. Okay, and the fact that we have 3 Category 5s out of 5 hurricanes, 3 out of 5 in the Atlantic this year, they're coming. They're coming. We have nowhere for any of us to go. Plan to die at home because that's what your government wants you to do, really.
Thank you, Dr. Dudley. Thank you for all of the excellent work you've been doing with the board since like 4 years ago and 21. And these are verified factual statements that we've worked with Taima and others that it's a master plan community on Oahu, and we have no shelters for Category 3, 4, or 5 hurricanes. So we're living on a prayer. Okay, first Vice Chair, go right ahead.
A fast question. Have you folks surveyed your first development, those who are living in your first development? Have you surveyed any of the families to ask about quality of life if they feel like where they're living is a place that they feel that their well-being has been satisfied, or is it increasing or decreasing, or has the development really led to families that feel like they're living in a place that is is healthy for them?
No, I can't say we have done that. We've kind of addressed some of the problems that every new community has problems. We have looked at what the issues were there physically, but not from the resident standpoint.
It would be interesting.
it would
just
be
'cause
interesting.
I know several families who live there and they don't feel that way at all. They can't wait to move out, to be honest with you. And those are just the ones I know. I'd be curious though to survey, because if you're going to build another community, if the community that you've already built for is not feeling like they're living in a place that contributes to their health, why continue to build? We've got to fix something, because if not, then in my opinion, it's a dangerous project, because it's not addressing quality of life and well-being that we really need in our communities, the balance that is.
Good advice. Thank you.
Any other constructive criticism, questions, concerns, or manao to share?
Hi, Chair. Sorry, this is Celeste Levy, resident in Mihana. I just wanted to share. Yeah, we talked about Ho'okele, and I'm a parent of children at Ho'okele, but also it's gonna affect the higher level schools also, like Kapolei Middle. Kapolei Middle, maybe 10 years ago, had charter school, and it affected families drastically until the new middle school came up, and then now it came into a place where families can have a structured life, not all year round school. These are things that's gonna affect those schools. The fights, all those. I'm thankful that HPD is gonna be in Kapolei High, so that will help with that issues, but also with student teacher ratio. We talk about our state having our education level is super low compared to the country. It's gonna, without the resources established in Kapolei High, Kapolei Middle, Ho'okele, to take on this influx of 800 more families, it's gonna get worse. And you know what? Ho'okele was really, really good, really good. I really love that school, but just seeing the influx without the resources, even a good school with good teachers, they're gonna get overwhelmed. And I don't want to lose good teachers because of that. I just want to share that. I don't know who has the power to help get more schools, push for that, but just want to share that. Thank you so much, Chair.
Mahalo. Yeah, you're right. I think it's part of the issue we have right now is that the master plan development that we have in Kapolei focuses primarily on the car and not on people. We have a suburban model primarily, and it's very difficult to be able to live, work, and play within 15 minutes walk of your home. And this was our second shot at doing it in Hawaii on the island of Oahu. So given those constraints, what can we do to be more creative? I'm not sure, but maybe thinking about the fact that we're supposed to have another rail station right across the street from those developments. Why not have that rail station also integrate with the Department of Education and actually build a vertical school over there in that lot with the city? Part of the issue is that they're in silos. They don't talk to each other. All of these areas, damn smack right in the middle of the train rail station where commuters will go to. It's like we're not even putting basic public infrastructure. Just pillars into the unknown because the rail was developed on its own, not thinking about our communities. That's the challenge we have in our Republican form of government with multiple jurisdictions of government and multiple people doing multiple things. And then we have people like Kobayashi and Ahe group here, local developers that are trying to actually weave between all of them. So thank you for trying. And as a community, we have to figure out creative solutions for the actual issues that we have. just like we called for earlier previously for another United States Postal Service office because of the capacity we're hitting with the ones that already exist in the region. Because nobody is planning out in the master plan community for the amenities that we collectively use. So we'll continue to do good work and try to work with our local developer in specific and see what we can do for creative solutions moving forward. Any other comments, questions, concerns, constructive criticism, solutions, creative thinkings, visions, or of a better tomorrow that you'd like to share with the developer and the rest of us? Please raise your hand. Okay, looking good. Thank you so much, Elton Wong, for being here with us this evening. We appreciate you coming and being candid with us. And we'll work together as much as we can to make things better.
Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. Now we're up for the public input part of our meeting. And before we get to public input, the chair would like to apologize that those might have noticed or prepared to testify on the public-private partnerships recommendation resolution that's in the board packet, which calls out landowners in Kalailo area, the government landowners, to actually open up to considering public-private partnerships in order to bring amenities that the community has been asking for. So that resolution is in the board packet, but since it wasn't agendized, we can't take a position tonight. But if you want to testify on it, you can. We just can hear it. And then next meeting, we'll be able to take up the discussion as board members. So, and the reason why that resolution is coming forward is because we realize that that's the master plan community too for the region. And part of it is that the government, with all of its land holdings, including the Hawaii Department of Transportation, has no current clear mechanisms to afford the amenities that the community's already been asking for in the region, like pickleball courts, like we passed with the Eva Neighborhood Board like a couple of years ago. So maybe we can get some of that going with creative thinking if we ask them to set up the appropriate mechanisms for that to happen. So feel free to testify on that if you want to, but we can't discuss or take action today. So at this time, any community members wishing to bring up any mana'o on anything in the community, this is your time to shine. So come on down. Sure. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. The floor is yours whenever you're ready. Go right ahead.
Aloha Chair, members, and Neighborhood Board. My name is Barbie Hatcher. I'm here tonight to represent my auntie, Kathleen Suopia. Unfortunately, she could not be here, but asked that I attend tonight's meeting to speak on her behalf. My aunt has lived in Makakilo community for decades. Recently, campaign signs were drilled into her private fence without her consent, compromising the integrity of the wood. These signs belong to the current incumbent representative of District 43, Kalani Souza. As soon as my aunt noticed the signs, she asked her daughter to remove them. Her daughter attempted to remove the signs. However, before it was fully removed, Representative Souza reinstalled the signs. On January 18th, instead of addressing the issue professionally at my aunt's front door, Representative Souza initiated a confrontation with my aunt's daughter while peering over the fence from Makakilo Drive. Representative Souza stated she personally installed the signs, accused my aunt's daughter of damaging her campaign signs, and falsely claimed she had permission from an uncle to install the signs. This claim is impossible, as my uncle passed away in August of last year. Due to the seriousness of this situation, a police report was filed. Also, a formal written complaint was submitted to Representative Souza, the Hawaii Office of Elections, the Hawaii Ethics Commission, Neighborhood Board number 34, and the minority leaders. As of today, no response has been received except from Minority Leader Lauren Matsumoto, who advised that a police report could be filed, something that had already been done and completed and documented in my original complaint. The lack of response is why I am here this evening. I am seeking guidance from the District Council member, Angela Tupola, the Mayor's office, or any appropriate agency that can assist in resolving this matter. My aunt is seeking reimbursement for the damage caused for a formal written apology, especially since she is still grieving the loss of my uncle. This matter is not about political affiliation. It is about respect for private property, accountability, and ethical behavior. This also raised a critical question. Who is responsible for enforcing political campaign signs, standards, and addressing misconduct by elected officials so situations like this do not happen again? Mahalo for your time and consideration.
Mahalo, community member, for raising the valid concern. We appreciate it. Any questions from community or board members? Go right ahead, Dr. Bosler.
Can we as a board discuss this, Chair?
So we can ask any questions to clarify what was presented. We can't take any action on it this evening because this is the first time and it's not properly on the agenda. So,
Okay. My question is concerning these political signs. This has been a common problem in our community, not just political signs. There's also the signs in the medians that are not legally there. And as a committee, as part of our beautification committee, we have talked about this. What can we actually do as a community? Because any of those signs, like the football sign up, the NFL football sign up signs, they're not allowed to be there. The signs about the yard sales, technically, they're not supposed to be there either. And now we have many of us have noticed that these political signs that don't have permission to be there as well. And so we were going through, the beautification community has talked with the community member Thad. I don't know if he's on tonight, but we've been going through the different channels trying to figure out who takes them down. And it always comes back to, well, no one. If we want them down, we have to take them down ourselves. And many of the signs are causing problems for not just private property, but also causing problems with our trees, causing problems because they're leaving metal to rust in our ground. And so what do we do about this? Not just you, because this is awful that's happened to your auntie. And I've seen the sign, I know exactly what you mean. And every time I drive by it, it makes me angry because I'm like, that's an illegal sign.
Member, can you ask
Sorry.
a question?
So what can we do
Thank you.
as a community to help with this? The only answer that our committee has come to is that we take them down. Not us as a board, but as a community, we take them down.
Mahalo. So depending on the situation, there's a whole bunch of legal regulation, but if it's in public rights of way and if it's there, the material that's left there is usually covered under of property that has been abandoned. And so there's different mechanisms depending on what it is. And frankly, yes, I'm not going to advocate for people to go and collect them, but that is definitely one way I've seen people handle the situation, is just go and remove property in public rights of ways. Now, private property, different matter, and we should allow the appropriate authorities to go and engage. But one thing that we can do, hearing the community members' concern, is that if you need our assistance in trying to elevate this, or contacting or engaging with other elected officials or the appropriate agency for campaign-related signs, so we can definitely help. So, any other questions, comments, or concerns given the members, community members' issue that you brought forward? Go right ahead, First Vice Chair.
I just wanted to thank you for sharing. You know, I saw this actually because I drive down, I pick up students, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of posters on one of the same person. And this is very revealing. But I do know that this board values ethical behavior, and we also value the rights of property owners as well. So I'm sorry this happened to you. And mahalo for sharing it with us.
Okay. Hearing no one else from the community come up, oh, regarding this issue or new issue? Okay. Coming up to share. No problem. Any other community members before we start with our electeds? Okay. If you can,
I'm sorry, I didn't put in as ever for letting you know I was coming to the meeting, so could I speak now or do I wait for an elective?
if you could hold off just for a few more minutes.
Okay,
If
thank
you have
you.
the time. If you
I
got to
do.
go.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go to that break. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up. I was a board member for years. I'm not on the board now, but I have been in the past. I've said much of this in previous meetings, but I'll go through it again because it seems to be helpful information. I am happy to reach out to, I have contact with several of the elected officials' offices for the purpose of getting signs taken down. So if you see a sign and you want to reach out to me, send an email, send it to NB34, that's short for Neighborhood Board 34, at thad.com. That's my first name. So NB34 at thad.com. I will pass your information on to the appropriate elected officials or whatnot, if it's on state property, if it's on city property, if it's on anything like that. If it's on a telephone pole, that's ECO. If it's on a street light, that's somebody else. If it's on the median, that's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If it's on Board of Water Supplies fence down by the bus stop near Walmart, I've contacted those people before, and on and on and on. If it's on private property, there's nothing we can do other than reach out to the police and let it go through the proper channels. As Chair Paris, you said, anything on public property is generally considered to be abandoned, so it can be taken down. However, I got assaulted by somebody who didn't appreciate me taking down their sign out of the median down on Kapolei Parkway one time. So I'm not making it up. I got assaulted. We went to court, the whole thing. It was a lot of fun. So do that at your own risk. As far as the political signs go, it's my understanding that those signs are legal if you have permission from the homeowner or landowner. It sounds like in this case they don't. So I would assume that those signs can and should be taken down by the property owner. You should have the right to do that. I would apologize to you if I was involved in this at all. I would like to see the elected official apologize to you. I think that would be appropriate. And I would like to ask personally, I would, as an individual, I would like to ask, is it House Member Sousa, is that the right person? Could you please take those signs down? It's not time for those signs to be up. They're not helpful. Several of them are unlawful. You're alienating your constituents. You're upsetting a lot of us. You're not doing yourself any good. Free advice from Uncle Thad. Please take them down. And I think that's my time. So thank you.
So just to reemphasize, a community member, that's Greg, who sits on every single one of our neighborhood board committees, and including the beautification committee, has much experience with the issues of signage in the area. So please reach out to him if you spot a sign that you think might be not something that should be there, and you don't have the risk tolerance to take it down yourself. He can point you in the right direction. Yeah, go ahead, member.
I'm sorry. So can I address my question to the mayor's office? Will someone follow up on my question? Who will keep District 43 representative accountable for what had happened? I don't want to just depend on HPD. That's a trespass and a damage of private property. But in regards to work ethics, okay.
Yeah.
Someone to follow up.
Sure. Good. And Johnny May, if you are hearing us, we can hear you too because you're not good.
So thank you, Chair.
Go right ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay. So according to the time frame of putting up campaign sign is 45 days before election. So the sign is up way before 45 days. And thank you, Tad, for your community service of the signs. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you.
I just want to make note, in my original complaint, the signs are up the first week of December in 2025, before all the holidays. They don't have a copy of it, so.
Mahalo. So a consideration for the committee to take up is, I've heard tonight, the bubbling of an idea of maybe where would be appropriate spaces for the community to put up notices for garage sales, Little League, campaigning for any number of offices. Maybe this is something that the committee might consider looking into, about creating public spaces where something like that can occur. Yeah. But we will refer that matter to the committee. Yeah. No discussion today. Any
Oh.
other comments?
Both wanted to comment the beautiful.
Yeah, we can't comment. Yeah, yeah.
Because we had come up with some ideas. We would love more community ideas, but we had shared to do. Oh, can I keep going?
No, you cannot.
Oh, sorry.
We're in public input, but when we come to beautification committee report, you can share all the things that you guys talked about. No worries. Being on the bright side of the appropriate sunshine laws, as we have been highlighted this particular election and administration cycle. Yes, go right ahead, Board Member Sheila Madaris.
So for the signage, that just question, along Makakilo Drive, that I had no idea who owns that until recently. It's private property. But I did in 2024 ask permission of a homeowner, and they specifically said, do not put screws in the walls, the wooden walls, because it could cause property termites and other damage to the wooden panels. So I think there should be some grace for candidates, because it's for a time period, but it should, yes, I agree, it should be 45 days prior to election. Earlier than that is it's noise. So if anyone is running, myself included, you should be using zip ties, because that is somebody else's property, not screws.
Okay. Let's move on to any other community members wishing to publicly testify before we ask our electeds to come up. See no one rushing to the microphone. Let's, oh, wait. Okay, community members, go. Come on up.
It's brief. So my name's William Albritton, Makakilo resident. And just an update on the Makakilo Bluffs project. So if you're, just let you know the location, if you're driving up Makakilo Drive, take a right at the Catholic Church. Cooley Street, you drive to the end, there's a cul-de-sac, and then that slope up there. Two things happened recently on the DPP's website. So one is the owner, Mr. Cook, he's asking for a grading permit for, the farm access grading. And then there's also a pending state land use district boundary amendment. So I think that's for converting some of the acres from ag land to urban. So unfortunately, it looks like they're going forward with the development, and that's all I got to say. So thank you. Just an update for everybody.
Thank you. Before you head off, because this is a model community member who have brought an issue before us, and then we asked him if he could continue to follow up and inform us, and he has. So having said that, is there a desire from the community members that you're talking with so far on the street and otherwise in order to take a position on the Makakilo Bluffs gradient and land use change?
We don't want development up there.
So,
and there's about 40 of us.
yeah, so
Maybe 30-ish that are opposed.
understanding that
Yeah.
you don't want the development and in the terms that has been presented. So we can agendize asking for the position of the board and the community to not grant the grading permits and not do the land use change. Because right now we can't stop all development, but we can comment on the current process.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so we will agendize that for the next meeting. Again, we've heard a lot from community members and their concerns on this. We just try to honor the process and make sure that your voices are elevated to the right spaces, especially to the bureaucrats that control the paper.
Great, thanks, sir.
Yep, awesome. Yeah, let's go to the next community member.
Hi, my name is Leticia Hernandez. I am a resident of the Villages of Kapolei. I just wanted to first and foremost thank Senator Gabbard. He was able to look at the palm trees at the corner of Coelho Street and Farrington Highway. One was deemed dry rotted. He did send, because he sits on the environmentalist chair, he did send somebody from UH West Oahu to actually conduct a survey on there, and they did a full report if anybody wanted to inquire about that. However, the palm tree right next door to it died since then. What started out with 4 beautiful, luscious palm trees at that one corner now have 1 dead. And I'm pretty sure that's going to go up for extraction here shortly once we push it through. But at what expense do we just keep digging out what we planted 30 years ago, and then it's going to come at the expense of homeowners again to put it in, right? And a lot of it is the lack of transparency with HHFDC and VOCA to ensure that our irrigation system that currently belongs to HHFDC got shut off approximately 5 months ago. Not 1 ounce of water besides what Keakua shedded on us this past several months, but there's no water. Which leads me to the 5-year VOCA plan that they have. We have just been informed that it is trying to be pushed up for the relinquish of HHFDC over to VOCA prior to the 2030 expected dateline. We are having a town hall, a VOCA town hall meeting Friday, February 6th, 7 p.m. Rec 1. If anybody would like to, or that's watching that is part of the Villages of Kapolei would like to have their input and their voice heard, that's the only space that we're given. We attend board meetings, still no voice. The only spot that we're given is this town hall meeting. So I, advise anybody out there that lives within the Villages of Kapolei that would like their voice to be heard to please attend that meeting. That's the only time you're going to be given. Thank you.
Mahalo, community member, before you head off, regarding your previous questions or concerns with VOCA's lack of transparency with their fiscals, did you receive them or are they available now to Village of Kapolei and the public members?
No.
Is there any estimated response of time when they're going to get it out to you all?
For the last several board meetings that I've attended, everything's being deferred to the next month, The last that we got was they're trying to start back at 2022, going through the whole auditing. They just realized that 2022 taxes were not filed. I don't know how we get to 2026. And
right.
Clearly the buck has to start and stop somewhere. And it's not, nobody's taking accountability. What I heard tonight, from Ms. Medeiros over there, no one in the Villages of Kapolei, as far as the board is concerned, is taking accountability at all. So as of today, we have no financial records.
Okay, so maybe we can follow up with our liaison from the governor's office and also part of HHFDC in order to see if they have access and getting access to the financials, because I would only imagine that in order for HHFDC to come to an agreement with transfer of property title to VOCA, the financials have to be settled. Like,
We just came from a meeting with, they're going to submit a letter of intent to take over another partial to be able to build and water use rights to wells and all of that. And we do have an HHFDC board member. There's no conversation, very little in regards to, and what I did notice at the last board meeting that they had was everything's tight sealed. So we have board members that currently sit on the board that are asking questions. Who went to the HHFDC meeting? What was it in regards to? And it's like, everything was written down. You should have it. And there's no transparency at all. And it's sad because it's going to come at an expense to us 5 years from now. We just had a rate increase because of this VOK projected 5-year strategic plan.
okay. So can you do me a favor and then
Yes.
either send to me or talk to me offline and provide those specific questions, because our liaison with the governor's office had indicated that they wish to help to resolve any issues that they have with HHFDC and VOCA transition. So please get me the information and I can get it to him and we can try and see what else we can do. But
Thank you.
appreciate you following up and informing the community.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other community members before we ask our electeds to come up? Seeing none. Okay, your time to shine. Come on down. Going to jump in the poll with Representative Garcia. Are you going to come up first, Rep? Welcome to Representative Garcia for House District 42.
Aloha Chair, aloha Board. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for hanging in there. Diamond Garcia, District 42. We just began this year's session last week. Last Wednesday was opening day. Today is filing deadline. That means today is the final day for all reps and senators to file their bills. Roughly about 3,500 bills is introduced each session. And by the end, we'll come down to about 200 to 300 bills passed. So a few updates on my newsletter this evening. There's a QR code to scan for our bill package. You'll see all 15 of our personal office package bills, our caucus package bills, and other bills that I sponsored. Also, there's a QR code on here that shows you step-by-step on how to navigate the Capitol website to submit your testimony this session. There's also a QR code on here to watch a joint housing press conference that myself and Senator Brenton Awa and Peter Savio did, talking about stopping foreigners from buying land here in Hawaii to put our local families first. Update, there is a town hall meeting we're hosting on fentanyl, a fentanyl town hall meeting at Honouliuli Middle School Tuesday, February 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. And we have special guests, Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda, who's coming in to present and share at that town hall meeting. A few other updates. We recently got $6.5 million released for UH West Oahu for improvements there. So we thank the governor's office for that. Also, planning and design is complete for the East Kapolei Elementary School. Now, which is a good thing because as we all know, our infrastructure is not keeping up with the population increase in our area. So the design's done. The next step is a appropriation for construction funding. Right now, we're getting numbers. It's $146 million for the elementary school in Ho'opili. So we're working hard. Our joint legislators, Rep. Alcos, Reyes Oda, Senator Gabbard, to make sure that that's included in this year's budget. VOCA update. Good news. After 30 years, finally, in just a couple months, an MOU will be signed between the city and county and the state of Hawaii to get those roads transferred from the state to the city. There's been issues over specs of the roads and sidewalks not meeting city standards. But after 30 years, I think it's the right thing to do because all residents of VOCA pay property tax. and yet they're not being serviced like any other neighborhood. And so it's time to do that. We applied joint pressure, Senator Gabbard, Councilmember Tupola, our office, and we're just glad that something's happening. So stay tuned. The mayor's office did make this announcement publicly this past week at a joint committee for finance and WAM at the Capitol. So again, stay tuned for that, and we'll hopefully see those roads transferred soon. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the board?
Mahalo for your report, Representative. Let's go to Board Member Sheila Maderas.
Thank you for the update. I do have a question. So the roads that are being transferred, that includes Kumuiki?
Yes, all the villages of Kapolei
Okay.
roads.
So only because I've seen the roads in that area and it's horrible. Like huge holes, and so they're putting cones around it. There's grass growing through it, weeds. So once that gets transferred over, then the city can come in and
Yes.
repave.
And right now, the city has held off for years because of that issue. And they're wanting the state to fix the roads first, to fix the sidewalks first, to fix the light posts and all that to make it up to standard. But the state is saying we just don't have the money to do that. So HHFDC's primary goal is to build housing, not to maintain roads across our state. So last session, Senator Gabbard and I worked on a bill that passed, which was SB 662, which allows law enforcement, local law enforcement, to now engage in VOCA roads and remove abandoned vehicles. As of right now, they're starting to do that. There's still much progress to be done, but they're starting. This agreement that will be signed very soon with the state and city agrees for a 6-year period of $60 million that the state will give to the city and county to bring those roads up to par and repave some of those roads and fix the sidewalks so that they are up to city standards.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, any other questions from the board or, okay, go right ahead. First Vice Chair.
Mahalo, would you be able to introduce your team?
Yes.
Mahalo.
You know what? Sorry about that. I totally forgot. And they're thank you so much, Vice Chair. And they're here this evening. They sat through all of this. Thank you to our team. So to our far left is Erica. She is our ledge aide. She is new with us this office. Erica, to her left is Danielle De Lima. She's a Kaupea resident. We got John Havelu, our chief of staff, and next to him is Hunter Harris, our ledge aide. So this is I always like to bring our whole office team to the first neighborhood board of the session. So if there's any issues, questions, comments, concerns, please reach out and they'll be happy to work with you and email us at repgarcia@capitol.hawaii.gov. Thank you for that.
Mahalo and okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns for Representative Garcia and his team? Okay, wishing you all the best.
All right, thank you very
for this
much.
legislative cycle. Okay, let's bring up Rep. Alcos.
Aloha, guys. I'm Representative David Alcos, and I just want to say mahalo to Sheila Maderas for working with me last year. And she was my legislature aide. She was helping me in the office, doing all kind of stuff. And she went over and beyond. Thank you, Sheila. I also want to introduce you to one of my other legislature aide and community person that helping out is Jessica Reese. She is a Makakilo resident. She lived there. She's going to be out here almost every time to keep you guys updated on what's going on. Some of the things that she's already working on is with some kapunas, some food, entertainment. She's already working with some food drives, working with a couple other organizations. So we're trying to build some events in our communities, and we're looking for support and what kind of help that the community want to get involved. So if you guys ever want to get involved and serve, hit me up. I want to share with you guys that the governor just gave me a letter today that he approved $1 million for a GO bond for the let's see, the environmental impact studies, and that's from Barbers Point all the way to Ko'olina, and that's to see when we get business coming in, we're going to study the whole thing and not just study one property at a time. So we want to make sure that that whole thing goes through, and that's good news that, you know, we're doing something like that on that area, because we need plumbing, infrastructure, electricity that we really failing back there. So it's good. And then I hear there's contaminated ground and stuff like that. So the quicker we can do all that study, the better it is. Introducing bills. Let's see. I introduced one bill. You guys was talking about the trees. You guys talking about how the infrastructure at Makakilo is not getting done. And you guys, and over we've been crying. City been neglecting on doing some of these things. Some of them at the park too. You know, this bill that I introduced was more towards the park, but maybe we should do it more outside of the park area where the state steps in, do the job, find the city, or back charge the city from what needs to be done. So a lot of times in my district, I mean, this is all my district, but in Eva Beach area, the parks and the grass is all out there. It's all green. Next thing you know, one water sprinkler broke. The thing all dies out there, and takes them 3 years or sometimes a couple years. And our keikis, our families, you know, neglect all that. So we need something right away. And I feel that the city will not get hit with a fine or does not have anything under their butt to really get things moving. But with this fine in place, we may get something going on. So that's one of the bills that we put in. We also did last year about cost of living, where we wanted to tax outside investors much higher. If we cannot stop them from buying our houses here, then we want to make sure that we charge them higher than what we're getting charged for. And hopefully we could reduce our tax. I just was with 808 cleanup, and you know, every Wednesdays they go out at Barbers Point. So we're planning together a big cleanup all in our areas. So hopefully we can do one huge cleanup from Campbell Industrial all the way to Barbers Point. I want to say big mahalo to the veterans. We got out there with Sheila, Diamond, and we had to feed the vets and, you know, show them that we care about these guys. And I just want to say also for the veteran memorial wall that came out here, it was really touching and really amazing. One of my uncles died in the Vietnam War, and he didn't make it back home. He was one of the gunners out there. But just to see the wall back in our backyard was just touching and amazing. And thank you for everyone who served and was helping out in that area. Opening day, to everyone who came out and celebrated with us, mahalo. Thank you so much for coming out. And last is, I think Diamond covered some of the overcrowding and stuff. So other than that, I'm sorry I haven't been here, be out here more often. And if you guys have any questions, I'm here.
Mahalo. Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns for Representative Elkos? Go right ahead, Dr. Dudley.
I'd just like to say to you and to Representative Garcia, we have 3 hurricane bills that are coming before the legislature this year. I'm trying to really build an army of people to try to push them through. And I just want you to know that they come from this board, actually. They are things that we tried to get through last year. None of our bills passed. But we've reached a desperate situation, and we really, really need every bit of support we can get. So I hope that you will work with us on trying to get everybody to vote for those hurricane bills.
Thank you. Safety is one big one that we all should be taking a look at. As a contractor myself, I did build a building that was a Category 5 building, and it did cost at least 4 times more than a regular cost, just to let you know. But safety is a big factor that we need to protect our families. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go online to community member Johnny May.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, I was sent to the lobby. I don't know why, but are you a state representative?
Yes, I am. District 41 from from
Okay,
Ever Beach to Paulino.
Okay, my question has to do with the bribe. It's gonna the $35,000 that investigation. The deadline is approaching. What happens then? Is somebody gonna extend the investigating so the public can find out who what happened and who's the person of interest in this $35,000 supposedly bribe?
You know, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but whoever took the money, whether Republican, Democrat, they should face crime and penalties that, you know, whatever they took or negotiated out there. So, go ahead, Daniel.
Just a quick update on this. So a bunch of legislators called for a private House investigation on what happened because the feds has basically stopped. They locked up 2 legislators. They served their time. They're out now. But the good thing is just, I believe it was last week, the governor and the AG agreed to open up a separate investigation from the Attorney General's office. So there's currently an active investigation on who the 3rd legislator was who took the $35,000 in that brown paper bag, which you've all seen in the news reports. I don't know how long that will take, but there is now an active state investigation, and we're hoping that at the end of it, there will be a name revealed and accountability given.
Okay, but the true question is the deadline is approaching. Will that deadline be extended, and will the investigating be accelerated if the deadline it was yesterday or
Yes, so
tomorrow?
I believe according to the statute of limitations, they have till the end of this year to charge. And so that was the worry, and that was why lots of people were calling for a state investigation into this, because it seemed like the plan was just to wait things out, because once you pass that time period, you can't charge them. So we're hoping, and I know many of us are putting pressure on the AG to conduct this investigation in a speedy manner to ensure that before the statute of limitations expire, there is charges brought and indictments given.
But will there be, in the meantime, a bill to extend the deadline if they delay of the investigation? Or
Not that I'm
once
aware
it
of.
expired, it's done and over. Nobody will know what happened and who was involved.
Yeah, so the current state law gives that statute of limitations for any kind of violation for those kind of things. It's 5 years. And so that's the current state law. I personally have not seen a bill this session, but again, today was filing deadline, so there could have been one. I'm not too sure. I do know there was a bill introduced by the Good Government Caucus, which I did see, and that would extend the statute of limitations for public officials for breaking the law up to 5 years after they leave office. So there is that bill moving through.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
I also think that there's millions of dollars out there that people are taking, and that should be investigated on. This $35,000 is really manini compared to what is going on. And I think there's a lot of investigation should be going on in our government. So thank you for the question.
I concur.
Mahalo to our community members raising the questions and our elected officials being here to field them. Appreciate it. Any other wishing to provide public input at this time? Anyone? Okay, seeing none at this time. Oh, okay, come on down. I still hope we'll make our deadline. Okay, cool. 7 minutes.
Well, I got 2 politicians here. I just like we talked a bit about taxing folks from foreign countries that live here, but I just want to draw to y'all attention. We have about 37 billionaires in Hawaii that own 200,000 acres. So that's 11% of the land, and 37 people isn't 37. 37 billion. These 37 people is like a small percentage of the total of our population. And a lot of these billionaires, they own agricultural land and are taxed, I don't know, $37 an acre or so, while the homeowners are taxed, $40,000 an acre. So it's just not fair, and also we could collect more money too for, do all kind of things, but just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Mahalo. Okay. Let's go now to board business. The first up is approval of the meeting minutes, Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Are there any corrections to that was circulated? Chair recognizes Vice Chair.
If we
Brenda.
could just correct my first name. Yeah,
We'll do the corrections
just
for you.
misspelling. That's all.
No problem. Any other corrections? Hearing none, the chair calls it by unanimous consent, recognizing that we can always go back and make more changes, right? Like, but now we have finalized minutes and we'll check Michaela's name. Actually, all of our names, because one of the things that the AI tool that's being used by NCO actually is misspelling almost every single Native Hawaiian name. So if we could just check all of our names. Next, let's go to resolution requesting the city to achieve ADA compliance for sidewalks and public rights of way. The impetus of this resolution was the work of and community members bringing up the issues and championed by our own Sheila Medeiros. And the resolution really just asked that the city come into compliance with the ADA, recognizing that it got sued previously for no ramps and therefore now actually is implementing a ramp program, but it's still not moving telephones or utilities or making sidewalks larger. So the question is, can we come into compliance, or if depending on the answer of the city, the community might actually choose to follow suit again, considering that's how they got the ramps project in line. So is there anyone wishing to, the chair's recommendation is to pass this resolution, which is come into compliance with the law. Is there anyone wishing to publicly testify? Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as circulated? It's been moved by Carol England, seconded by Sheila Medeiros. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say ole. Any abstentions, kanaloa. And hearing no abstentions or nays, the chair calls it unanimous. We have an official position asking the city to come into compliance with the law. Yay. And pointing out very specific areas which we've identified issues, including Farrington Highway, because we're supposed to have the widening and we're supposed to have bike lanes and we're supposed to have the walkways for all of the students going to UH West Oahu campus. Okay, now we are at time, so the chair begs to move the committee reporting till next meeting and recognize that our board announcements is that our next official meeting, it will be February 25th, 2026, 7 p.m. at Kapolei, Hale. But at this time, the chair will be working with the NCO to try and schedule a special meeting of the board in order to go over legislative issues, priorities, and the Kalai Law resolution for asking the government landholders to consider public-private partnerships and lease things out, because bureaucrats take very, very long to do things for our community, and maybe nonprofits and other locally interested organizations might be better equipped to help them with the expertise on the ground. All we're asking them is to consider it. So we will look forward to NCO's reply on when that's available and get back to everybody for that special meeting. And we can take official positions on the hurricane resolutions that Dr. Dudley worked with Senator Gabbard. Okay. And with that, we are right on time, 9:58. The chair calls the meeting adjourned. Mahalo, everyone, and let's have a wonderful 2026. Okay.